2.5, and 1. There we go. Had to do a little genjutsu. Alright. Let me just go ahead and pop the warriors real quick. And welcome on in. Welcome on in, the Mad Salvi. Welcome on in. It is an honor to, first off, well, since we're already in the stream, y'all already know the title. Today we're going to be collabing with another fellow VTuber, which I'm very, very much excited for indeed. Very excited for. Speaking of which, I already got my bot ninja up and running. Just give me a sec. Alright, let me see here. Do bear with me, please do bear with me. Make sure I got my virtual camera on as well. Perfecto. Alright. Just trying to get everything ready. Do bear with me, it has been some time since I have done a collab, so please do bear with me with working on alright. Give me some time because I am trying to get everything set up. Yes, thank you. Exactly. Yeah, please bear with me, chat. But as I'm doing this, how's everyone doing today? How are we doing this fine afternoon? That's great to hear already. That's good. Alright, trying to see how I can do this. How do we set up? Trying to set up the bot ninja. Sheesh, giving us issues already, but we got this, warriors, we got this. My microphone, well, that's the thing. My OBS had a reset issue where it was trying to update, but because it didn't accept some certain filters, it gave us a bit of a hard time. Alright, how do I add things again? Alright, there we go. Virtual, there we go. Much better. Alright. Trying to just get everything up and set. Trying to get everything ready too. Trying to make sure I don't have all my stuff. Let me see. Trying to make sure I have everything set up. Oh, hold up. Hold up, we got it. Now it's all coming back, chat. It's all coming back. It's all coming back. Gotta set the virtual camera in VC Face. That's the program that I use. It's all coming back. It's all coming back. Virtual camera. And here we go. Virtual camera. Give it the time. Let me just reset it. Resetty spaghetti. Alright, we're getting it. Just give me some time, because it has been a while since I've done a collab, so it'll take a little bit of patience. But I thank y'all for being very understanding. Alright, really trying to get this together. Trying to get everything set up. But again, really appreciate your patience as well. Usually I had... Okay, so it wouldn't be so difficult to set this up. Like always, scuff will happen. Scuff will happen. I'm very appreciative of everyone just being patient, though. Okay. Trying to connect the... trying to connect the virtual camera. I'd done before with Johan. This wasn't too difficult before. Okay, this should be doing it. We'll go ahead. Boop. Okay, so I have a few difficulties. Trying to set up how I want to do this. Bear with me in mind. Still trying to get this all set up. Last time I did wasn't such a difficulty. Give me 1 minute. I got it down in my notes, going to look up how to set it up. Because I've done it before. We'll be alright though, chat. We'll be alright. Alright, tutorial helps us out here. Help us out tutorial. Alright. And bingo. Yes, we're using tutorials. Alright, we're going to try it again. Go on here and find virtual camera. That shouldn't be an issue as ever, but we're going to keep trying anyway. This shouldn't be a problem. Alright. We're going to try it again. Don't worry, we got this. Bear in mind there will be a little scuff, because it has been some time since I've done this. Usually it's not such an issue. It's usually not such an issue. I don't know why it's acting like this now, but it'll be alright. Meanwhile, as we wait, though, how's everyone's day been? Alright, I think I just found the answer, chat. There we go. Now this is not getting that. There we go. Getting everything set up, so bear in mind, thanks for your patience. Thank you, Matt Salvi, thank you. Thank you for your patience. So now I'm trying to get the green screen ready too. Alright. the green screen already. Try to get that set up. Trying to find a good green screen. But as we wait though, yeah, I mean, I honestly really look forward to doing this collab. I'm very grateful for people being patient. I mean, usually not this, well, it's alright. It's just been a while since I've collabed, so thank you for your patience, thank you for just waiting and understanding, because usually it's not such a huge complication. It's just getting back into the swing of things. It really is for me. It really is just getting back into the handle of doing these type of collabs and just getting used to certain works. Alright. Alright. Got that in. Trying to make sure I can get this in. Okay. Still trying to get the virtual camera set for my end. That's the annoying part, but we'll be okay. We will be okay. Man, usually this isn't such a big issue for me, but it really isn't. It shouldn't be an issue, but it is now. Why all of a sudden it's not acting like this. Last time I did, there was no issue. Hold on, I'm looking up the tutorial again. Okay. That's done. Okay. Alright, we're getting there. We're getting there. What I'm trying to do is just load this in. Okay, so we have virtual camera. That's the annoying, difficult part, though. Unless there's something I can... Okay, now we got it. Gucci. Okay, now we got it, chat. Now we got it. We got it, chat. We got it. Just had to do a little tinkering, but we got it now. Just had to do a little tinkering. Again, thank you everyone for your patience. Thank you so very much. Just had to fight through a bit of scuff, but we got it now. So then, go ahead and got that started. We'll go ahead and copy the clipboard, and now we're going to send it to our friend Salvi. Which, thank you again, my friend, for the patience. Thank you so immaculately much for the patience. So, gonna go ahead to Twitter. Here we go. Send it to our friend. Again, really thank everybody for being patient. Thank you for just waiting, because it's been some time since I collabed, so it has been some time. So there we go. I'm gonna write down the notes. So then, I'll go ahead and prepare myself as well with our collab partner. There we go. And bingo. Well, that was quite the adventure. Alright, with that being said, again, how's everyone doing? Now we got all the technical difficulties out the way. Again, thank you for your patience. This is why it's always good to try to prepare ahead of time. It's always good to prepare, but no worries though. Alright. And then vice versa. Now just waiting. There we go. Alright, glad to have this sell though. Glad to really have this fixed. So I just And we're back, viewers. Just a little technical difficulties, but have no fear, have no worry. We back in action. Nothing new to this warrior. Really, partner? Really? Okay, come on, really? The second time? Oh, okay. Yeah, we're gonna hit the old 9/11 joke, really? Come on, y'all. We really gonna hit that. We really about to hit the 9/11 jokes, really? Come on. Not in this dojo. Don't worry, y'all. Oh no, don't worry. Just resend. Just go ahead and resend your link again. It will still work. Alright, got your source. So let me just go ahead and set everything back up. Back on my end. But thank you for your patience as always. Thank you so much for your patience. Even when there are technical difficulties, we still continue to maintain professionality and maintain just the humble, optimistic support and patience. I mean, nothing new to me. You learn to deal with all kinds of stuff. That's part of being a VTuber. You learn how to deal with stuff and you keep on pushing forward, no matter how hard things might get. Alright. Alright, just seeing. Alright, just checking if everything's still online. And we should be good. Alright, just give me one small second again. Just make sure everything's back online. Make sure all angles of the metaverse are seeing this. Again, thank you for the patience. We always try to keep it professional at this part of the dojo. Alright. There we go again. Here we are, almost done. And GG. And bingo. We are back, and we are back on the air on all parts of the metaverse. We're Gucci, y'all. We're Gucci. Again, thank you for the huge patience. Now, then, without further ado, let's go ahead and welcome our friend. Let's go ahead and welcome our new friend into the dojo. Go ahead. All right. And there we go. I'm just going to turn down the music too.
Ready?
All right. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Okay, cool. Welcome in. All right. Let me just. Okay. Hold on. My apologies. Let me just fix this real quick.
No worries. I put the green screen in case you needed it to be chroma keyed, or if you want me to go blue, I can go blue. It all depends.
No problem. I gotcha. Give me one small second. It's been a while since I collabed, so let me see. Where is filters? There we go. Filters.
Yeah.
Where it at?
You can either do blue or chroma key or whatever. The reason why it may be weird if you do green is that a lot of me is green, so.
Okay, just do it blue.
You can do blue. You can do blue, and then I can put the blue filter on here and take off the other chroma key.
Definitely put that on. Also, I'm going to lower the music down just so everyone can hear.
There we go.
Oh, hold up.
So I switched things up.
You're kind of invisible on my side.
That's why like switch it over to blue instead of green.
Okay, it's on.
Because it usually does. If you do chroma key, it just usually does like green. But yeah, there you go. I think it's still chroma key. There you go. And you can change how strong the blue is. I believe you can change the strength of the blue.
Okay,
but it's better than. I mean, this is still better than nothing. It's just
agreed.
It might be distracting. It might be distracting, but you could leave it like this. Because I chose a strong blue, because if it's like a weaker blue, then some of me actually becomes invisible.
It's
like what happened before.
I think what I could do is try to turn the opaque. Oh, hold up. Nope, can't turn that down.
What you can usually do is you can change like the shade of blue.
Okay, like custom color.
Yeah. I can also yeah, because green is too much, and well, I mean, I could be semi-invisible like this, and it'd be funny. It'd still be funny.
For real. Okay, let's just try green again.
Yeah, the green will do that. Like on the filters, you can do. Let's see. Let me see if I can go along with everything. To see if I can help you out a little bit.
Yeah. Again, thank you for the patience.
Yeah. No worries. These things always end up happening one way or another. When you go to any kind of chroma key, you can change you can go blue, and then you could change the similarity. You can change the similarity a little bit, or the key color spill a little bit. Though I think that the similarity is what you want to modify.
Similarity.
Yeah. Usually, well, I mean, I'm using Streamlabs OBS, so it's a little bit different. But on your OBS, yeah. So you can change the similarity a little bit. Look, like this is better than nothing.
Yeah,
this is better than nothing. Even though my eyes are a little bit weird, it's better than nothing. It's better than having like blue on you that way. So I don't really mind.
It's cool. I mean, who's going to notice?
Yeah, you can change other things like key color spill reduction and things like that to kind of modify things here and there. But the majority of it, like the majority of my body is still here, and it's the same with my tail and things like that.
Yeah.
So that's why I choose blue instead, because like any green will make, since I'm very, very green, it will make a lot of me disappear.
Well, now we got everything finally settled. Got the whole internet technical difficulty Discord out the way. Let me just first off say, welcome to the Lit Dojo. It is a huge honor to meet you. It's great to just be able to invite another VTuber in. It's such a great honor to have you here. So,
I mean, the pleasure's all mine. The pleasure's all mine. It's an honor to be invited to a collab. I am not one of those people that is like, oh, you're tiny, you're not gonna get any views or whatever.
oh
I don't
yeah,
really care. I'm just invited to a collab. I'm happy. You could be someone who is just like you and me on the stream and chatting. It doesn't really matter to me.
yeah,
I'm just happy
exactly.
to be able to collab with somebody.
And the main point is just, for me personally, ever since I first started VTubing back in 2023, the first thing I've always wanted to do is just make friends. I know you hear that a lot from other people, but first thing I want you to know about me is that I am a very genuine person, so I keep it 100.
Yeah, I've noticed that from you immediately. I've definitely gotten that from you from our conversations, our chatting.
Thanks.
And I do appreciate your patience with me too, because like
Oh
I told you,
yeah,
I have just gonna be 100% honest with you. I'm always honest with my community as well. I am autistic. I have been diagnosed for like at least a decade. When I was growing up, autism meant that you were going to be on the short bus. It meant that you were quote unquote special and you were mistreated. You were pretty much ostracized.
mm,
So my parents never really got me diagnosed for it. When I became an adult and was responsible for my own stuff, I noticed that I still had the stuff that I had when I was younger. So I went and I got diagnosed, and they're like, "Yep, you're autistic and you have ADHD." So
yo, I also have
uh,
ADHD.
yeah, it's one of those things. It's something like my parents were like when they found out about it. It's like, wait, does that mean that your ADHD caused your autism, or what is it? I was like, no, you can be ADHD itself. ADHD doesn't mean you're going to be autistic, but if you're autistic, it's very likely you're going to have some ADHD at least tendencies in there. It's a little bit a part of ADHD. So if you're
Mm,
ADHD, doesn't mean that you should get yourself tested for autism. ADHD is its own thing. But if you're autistic, a lot of times they'll be like, do you want, like with me, they were like, do you want just to check for autism or do you want to also check for ADHD and other things? I'm like, just do the full thing. And yeah, they said that I have autism with ADHD. So the reason why I mentioned that, number one, is I'm very open because there's still a stigma about that out there. It's still kind of like the short bus mentality, the
honesty's the
you're
best
special.
policy.
Yeah, and my community appreciates it. Of course, I have people who still to this day are like, "Oh, you're just using it as a crutch. You're using it as a shield." I'm like, "No,
No.
yeah, no." I tell my community itself. Sorry for talking so much,
Oh
but
no,
I
it's
tell my
cool.
community. Yeah, I tell my community itself. I tell them, look, hold my feet to the fire still. I don't care if I'm autistic. I'm a high functioning autistic. So hold my feet to the fire. That doesn't mean I'm not an adult. That doesn't mean I don't have my own responsibilities. That doesn't mean that I shouldn't be held responsible for things. Autism, highly functioning autism, does not mean that I have a disability. Well, it technically is a disability, but it doesn't mean I can't function properly. It means that yes, I do have bad social cues. I don't get them very easily. I'm gonna make mistakes because of that, but I still want to hold myself responsible because I'm an adult, and that means yes, I have to figure out ways of dealing with it without just being like, oh, I'm autistic, so forgive me. No, I never go that way.
Yeah, and that is a very mature way of seeing it. Because me personally, growing up in middle school, ooh, middle school, that was something. Back when I was in middle school, I had many teachers who thought I would never. And see, that was also from kindergarten. I've had people who thought I would never graduate from kindergarten or middle school. Yet here I am years later, now in college, and it's like all the times where people see, that's the thing. People who first doubt you in the beginning, it's like years later, you use that as fuel to motivate yourself to keep pushing. Don't let the doubters keep you down, you just keep going.
Yeah,
And
absolutely,
yeah, definitely.
and that's good. Go ahead.
And another thing you mentioned about being honest with your community, I've seen that a lot, which as a news tuber, that is a great thing to do. I've always respected you always maintain that sense of honesty and just being genuine with the research, because there are some who don't take the time to go through the proper research, like with the and we're not going to go into too much because everyone's trying to move on. With the past April drama, you handled that very well. And again, even with you posting my video, and it really helped us all move through because, again, I don't want to go into it. We all don't want to, but the bond that we're forming now really helped me move through the drama and just move forward. Which, don't worry, this all ends happy because I found another VTuber. Well, rather, she's already been my inspiration before the drama, and I'm proud to say that she's always going to be my inspiration through and through my whole life being a VTuber.
That's good. That's very good. It's very good to have that inspiration. And yeah, without getting into specifics, of course, when it comes to the drama that happens, like I mentioned, I do try to be honest. I do try to be as straightforward as possible. And like I said, I'm going to make mistakes just like any human does. Unfortunately, in the society that we live in the VTuber world that we live in, I've realized
society.
Yeah, we do live in a society. I have realized that that even though I do make corrections, because when it comes to news, when it comes to everything is ever evolving, everything is ever changing. New things are going to pop up, new pieces of evidence, etc., will pop up. And something that I said with the limited information that I had, sometimes the next day becomes something different. There are various situations where that's happened, but every single time I tend to go more for making even just a 20 or 30-second correction in the beginning of my video instead of doing what others do, which is, everyone has their own ways of doing it, but I feel for me, what works best is because since I am doing usually around 2 videos a day, I will, some of my videos, like after a day or two, because it's old news, technically, they don't get viewed as much anymore. So if I put a correction on there as like a pinned comment, etc., people aren't going to see it. So what I usually do is I go for the next video, be like, you know what, I made a mistake on that one. Like with Yuki no Shitapeo, a Japanese VTuber who was, feeling sad about certain things that were happening. I thought it meant about Offkai. It wasn't about Offkai. She later said it wasn't about Offkai. Not necessarily dealing with me, but everyone in her community thought it was about Offkai. And then I corrected myself. So I'm like, it was a mistake. She herself corrected because a lot of people, because I'm at a big person like Yuki no Shitapeo that is in Japan, is not going to see my stuff. I am already, very well aware of that. So she wasn't talking about me, but since people did see my video, I wanted to make sure that they understood that there's that thing to correct. But real quick, I got off topic, but going back to the drama stuff, one thing that I did want to do, especially now that there's the Doki drama and things like that, is pushing, of course, yes, you can dislike the creator, but the creator that is doing all the drama, like for now it's Catliente and stuff like that, you can dislike them, but don't go sending hate, harassment. Don't try to do that campaign. Number one, for people like Kat and others, it'll feed into their victimhood mentalities, because some people do have that where they always try to paint themselves as the victim, as like, oh my god, everyone's against me, etc. It takes away from the message. And two, they've already gotten the negativity. They've already gotten enough negativity. They've already gotten the consequences for their actions. No need to be evil and go further than that, in my opinion. So that's why I always try to, like with the thing that happened in April, I'm like, if you don't like her, if you don't like the person who did this, unfollow, block, move on. If they did something reportable, report them and move on. There are many, many people in this community who are way more than good enough to be able to make you happy. Like, for example, Spite.
Yes,
Spite Cerberus. She is someone who now, thanks to the situation, unfortunately, she was mistreated in the past because she was seen as a copy of the person we're talking about. But Spite now got like pretty much a day or two after the whole thing happened, or a bit after the whole thing happened, Zentreya and Vishojo invited her to a collab which is huge, to be in a collab with Zentreya, Henya, the girls, and Heavenly Father and others. It is huge to be a part of a collab with them. So she got invited to that collab. A lot of people from the community of the person who was outed as, not so great, moved on. Thousands moved on into Spite's community, where basically she has been very sweet. She's never been vindictive. She's never been in any way, shape, or form sending any kind of negativity to anybody. She just went her own way, did her own stuff, and wanted to continue doing her own stuff. And I'm glad that she was able to, and I'm glad that she is, doing great.
And that's why she's always been my inspiration. She's the exact inspiration I've been talking about ever since 2023 when I first started. She has been one of my main inspirations along with Surveil. Both her and Surveil, God bless their hearts, they have been my inspiration through and through. And just seeing how they both handled the drama with such honesty and strength, that's why I've always admired them. I have always looked up to them, and just seeing Spike grow and just stay true to who she is, I respect that a lot. I respect that a lot.
Absolutely. It is as you can tell, I am I didn't used to be a yapper like I am now. I used to be very quiet. Like I've even shown on my community whenever I stream, I show them, it's like, whoa, like they're like, oh my god, you're like, some people come in like, oh, you're good at chatting, you're good at everything. I'm like, oh, you have no idea. Then I go back to like 4 years ago when I started, 4 or 5 years ago when I started this. Yeah.
Back when I was in high school during my junior years, I was not very. I had this mentality of where I care about what people thought of me, but as time grew, I had some heroic inspirations. Like, do you know Ash William from Evil Dead?
Yeah.
So he has always been my inspiration of how I just stopped giving a care what people thought about me. I just thought, you know what? I'm gonna be my own person. I'm gonna grow, and just if people want to say negative stuff about me, it's not true. It's not me. And from that point on,
Absolutely.
yeah, from that point on, growing into who I am now as a young adult, I learned to be more social, definitely being more assertive when needed, and just being me. If people want to hate, that's them. It doesn't show who I am, because at the end of the day, I'm the bigger person, I'm the positive person, and I'm gonna keep it a band in 100.
No, yeah, that's the thing is, no matter what kind of hate comes your way, if you are yourself and you're true to yourself, then there's no reason for you to be ashamed of anything. There's no reason for you to really feel like, oh, I need to do this or that. That is one big thing that I try to do. I try to be true to myself, and being true to myself is also understanding that yes, I am going to make mistakes. Yes, there are going to be a lot of times I'm going to have to do corrections, etc. And I do that. That's why I do them when I can. That's why the people that stay in my community have understood that. Yes. Also, I don't ban people who criticize me. The only times I do any kind of like, because on YouTube there's something you can say like hide this person's comments from your viewers, or hide them from your channel. The only times I do something like that, or I have done something like that, is primarily when they are actively trying to troll the community itself, or trying to like be mean to other people, like again and again and again. I understand, you're going to have conversations, but when they're just doing things to try to troll other people in the community, or try to just be a menace in there, because some people just enjoy that, I will what I'll do is I will usually silence them for maybe a week or two, kind of give them a break, and then I'll give them another chance. Usually they'll leave within a week or two. So that's why I just, like, if they come back and do the same thing, then I know who they are, and I'll just do it again. I'll just remove them again. But the thing is, with the hiding feature on YouTube, it's not like the ban feature over here on Twitch. It is pretty much where their messages will still quote unquote be sent. According to them, they'll still be able to see it. It'll still look like it's sent, but it will get no views, and it will get no engagement. So after a while, they'll just keep sending stuff. I won't know they sent stuff. They'll know they sent stuff. But once they don't get those responses, like the emotional responses they're looking for, they will just leave. Exactly. And that's what I just do.
Emotional vampires.
Yeah. And it's best, and when it comes to those, it's always best not to engage.
Oh,
because
definitely.
Those emotional vampires, yeah, they'll always be there. And they do live off of you engaging with them. They do live off of people, getting people angry, getting a rise out of people, and then moving on with that. So that's why I usually just it like my community is very self-regulating. A lot of people, there are people who come in and try to be mean, evil, whatever you want to call it, but eventually people will just be able to chill. And most people there, like even with recently the Kersha thing, she's a political, if you don't know who she is, she's a
Oh, I know
political
who she
VTuber.
is.
Yeah, she has views which are extreme on
Yeah.
the right, but even with that, I am not a person of cancel culture. So recently she got banned off of Twitch.
Well, actually,
uh
she just got unbanned. I saw the
yeah,
notification.
she got unbanned because it was a bad ban. It wasn't an actual, it was supposed to be just for a day, but either way it was an inappropriate ban because she never does anything of the S nature. I just say S because TOS on both sides. Whenever you say the actual word, sometimes you can get hit. So I just say of the S nature. She doesn't do anything like that. She doesn't do anything inappropriate other than what some people would consider her words inappropriate. But beyond that, she doesn't do much else other than just stay to her side and just do her own thing. You cannot agree. Like, I don't agree with a lot of things that she says. But what I told my community in the video that I made about it is either way, no matter what, you shouldn't false report somebody just to cancel them because you don't like what they say. If you don't like what they say, I say the same thing as I said in April. Block, ignore, move on, mute, whatever you need to do, move on. There are way more other people out there that you can enjoy.
Yeah, I mean, the whole thing with cancel culture is, from what I was once taught, cancel culture affects those who care about the money and stuff. I mean, at least that's what I understand. It's like if you put your soul on $1 or something, yeah, that might scare the absolute crap out of them. But I mean, for me personally, God willing, when I continue to grow more and more, I want people to see how genuine I am, and I don't want people to think that I'm all about the bag. Now, don't get me wrong, the money is good so I can take care of myself, my family, provide for my needs and stuff, and buy the content that I need for personal projects. But as far as, I'm not going to put money in business over my friends and family. I mean, I'm going to be very genuine about it. You try to balance business and family where it's honest.
No, absolutely. You have to be honest. You have to be, like I said, on my end, I always tell my community, I'm like, at the very least, what you guys are going to be doing for me, with super chats and things like that, at the very least it helps me get some ramen. So my community, I never, there are people out there who always ask for more and more and more. One person that I know is DSP Gaming. He's just a regular person out there, but he does a lot of actual, like, quite literally begging his chat to give him more and more.
Oh yeah,
and chastising them. Yeah, chastising them when they don't give enough. And me, I've never ever been that way, and I never will be that way. I never ask for anything. I do have my throne out there and things like that you can give gifts if you want. The reason why I have a throne at all is if someone is going to give, I tell them that way, instead of it just being like giving me, like, for example, $5 or whatever it is, and me just spending it on whatever, you can decide what it's going to be given to me for. For example, right now I'm just trying to get a better PC. So there is, that is what I do. It's like something more tangible instead of it just being nebulous money where, the person can, I mean, there's a certain good thing about allowing the person to spend it however they want. But sometimes people are like, I want to know I gave something in particular, gave something to better the channel, etc. So that's why I have the throne available at all.
Exactly.
So that they can have that option.
That's like how one time earlier, a few months, I tried to do my first donathon. So my first donathon, I try to lower it from 200 to 100 because I don't want to sound like I try to keep myself very transparent, especially being, the whole samurai ninja theme. Yeah. I'm very transparent. So as a ninja, I am very transparent on what I'm going to do with my money, why you're donating. I try to be as transparent as I can, so you're not thinking that, oh, he's only spending his money on random crap instead of actually bettering his content. I mean, look, sometimes you don't have to know, but see me, if you want to know, I will literally even post a picture of what I bought. just to be genuinely transparent, because I
Yeah,
mean, it ain't like I'm trying to deceive y'all of money. It ain't like I'm going to be like, hey, give me this so I can buy that, but then turn around and spin on some other crap. I keep it 100 as always.
yeah, and that's one of the reasons why places like Throne are beneficial. Of course, I'll just be honest with you. Throne started out for e-girls.
Ooh,
Basically, that's what it started out for. It was basically a platform. It's for anybody. It's for anybody to get gifts and stuff like that. But of course, it was for people who wanted to give gifts to e-girls. Those are the ones who use it for the most part. I think it's one of the reasons why it's called Throne. That type of thing. It wasn't like anybody can use it, of course. The ones who do get a bit more are the female VTubers, because as I've always said, people and before people always I always say this before as a qualifier before people criticize me, and because I always say this, female VTubers or female presenting VTubers are going to tend to get a bit more
oh yes they are.
gifts. They get more gifts, they get more views, they get more things like that, because I say this, like, I'm not hating on them,
Oh yeah,
but
we get it.
a female presenting VTuber is just, let's just be honest, for both men and women, it is more visually attractive.
Yes,
It
that
is
is
in
true.
general. Both women and men will say that women are beautiful. So that's a thing that happens there. And I've noticed that because right now I use occasionally a female raccoon thingy, because it actually works. It's one of those that I was able to buy for like $5, but I use it. I've
Yeah.
changed it around. I use it because it actually, for like Doom: The Dark Ages and certain games, it's funny. But VTube Studio instead of VC Face actually allows better FPS in games like Doom: The Dark Ages, in games like Clair Obscur and things like that. So people are like, oh, you're going to switch over to the Raccoon Girl. I'm like, yes, because my PC doesn't die when I do that. So I switch over. But I have noticed that when I do, I get more viewers, which is interesting.
That's
I'm
what
still the
I've
same,
been-
just, yeah. Go
That's
ahead.
what I've been working on. So, actually, a past stream, I had already made a female avatar because I wanted to
Yeah.
try that too to see if I could earn some more viewers as well. I mean, just trying to try something new. I did try to use a
Yeah.
voice changer, but that kind of burnt to the ground. So I just keep it natural now.
Here's the thing, like, where you can say, here's a word that would actually help you out if you want to explain what it is.
Sure.
In Japanese culture, anime culture, there's something called a babiniku. A babiniku, from my understanding, is basically a female presenting. In this case, I think it was a demon or whatever that has like a male voice.
Oh.
Babiniku VTubers. If you ever see the term babiniku or babiniku VTuber, it is basically a female presenting that is a male voice. I think that's what it's used for more now, but it was before, like, any gender presented that has a different gender as their voice, or at least a sound of a different gender as their voice. So you can say, like, oh, you're a babiniku VTuber if you do that. If you end up going for the female look with the male voice, you can say you're babiniku. That can kind of assuage people, instead of it being like, oh, you're just a male trying to look like a female. It could be like, nope, this is part of my lore. I'm babiniku. That's
or
what it is.
I can shapeshift. I mean, that's also
Yeah, you
part
can
of
just
my-
shape.
That's part of my power, being able to use key energy to shapeshift.
Exactly. And well, it worked. That's what I did for my Raccoon Girl one. I said basically, tanuki, which are a
Yes,
like a
Tanuki.
Japanese thing. Yeah. The tanuki, they are ones that can shapeshift as well. They're ones that have that power to shapeshift. And I'm like, well, the tanuki got me this one. The tanuki curse got me, and I'm a female. My chat loves it. My chat a lot of times will tell me, all right, you're gaming, go for the girl avatar because it's just funnier this way, and then I'll just do that. And people think that that's my main avatar, but whenever I do news, I do this one, and then I do that for the. Just quite literally, I started continuing to use it. Number one, because my community loves it, and why not do something my community loves? Number two, it was to because, like I said, my system dies less for whatever reason. VTube Studio is a lot less like crazy with the FPS. Because, for example, I'll use VTube Studio, and I'll be able to get like 60, 70, 80 FPS. When I use VC Face, I'll get like 20 or 30 FPS on a game that I'm playing. So that's why I switch over to the VTube Studio. And I'm still working on getting myself a Live 2D. I've been recommended to do a donathon for Live 2D, but I'm like, I always feel guilty getting stuff from people. Uh, the throne is a little different because the throne is like, yeah, you get something tangible. I might put something like that on my throne. Money for a Live 2D avatar or something like that. But I also need to find the correct artist for it, someone that kind of fits the kind of look that I wanted.
That's very
Yes, you did just
interesting.
hear that Zach made it. That Zach made a female VTuber. Yes, absolutely, you did just hear that.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw in my chat already. I'm like, yes, I've been done. I've been done the debut, and I've already had one comment talking about literally burn it with fire because the voice literally bombed. I'm gonna stop using voice changer. I only use it for my helmet, which let me just go ahead and show that real quick because I actually have a helmet mode.
Oh, nice.
There we go. This is my
There it is.
Kabuto.
Yeah.
And Kabuto is pretty much a samurai helmet. Again, the whole Shogun Shinobi. Shinobi, which is like another term for ninja. So
Yeah.
I'm actually very proud how it's turned out. I want to go with the whole.
It turns out really nice. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to do with the whole cyber. Because there's two parts of my lore within being the Shogun Guardian. So I'm like this samurai who protects the anime universe from only God knows what, like gods, devils, literal eldritch entities, SCP anomalies like the Scarlet King, literal Cthulhu, and the Great Older Ones. And that's only just Mondays. You should see Saturday nights. So
no, that's fun. It's always fun to have lore like that. It's always good to have lore like that. It can help expand the universe and that you have, and also expand the enjoyment that the community has. Communities in general love stories, and they love being brought into whatever lore you have. So that's good.
exactly. Speaking of lore, so let's go ahead and get into some questions I've been always wanting to ask you. So,
Go ahead.
first question. What inspired you to take up VTubing?
The quick the quick part of it is I had been an anime enjoyer since I was 12. I started watching VTubing around 2020 when the whole like 2019 or so. Around that time, I was like, I was just doing my regular thing on YouTube. I started noticing Hololive being recommended a lot since I watched a lot of anime related stuff on YouTube back then. I saw Hololive being recommended a lot, so I started looking into it. Around that time was, you had Toa, you have other people, you have Watame, which is part of Gen 4. Started watching them. The one who really, really got me into it, honestly, was Watame, because at that point in time, other ones, like, Kiryu Koko, also 4th Generation, Luna, etc., they had their own spiel, their own shtick that they were going, and it was more wild, out there, crazy, etc. I'm not really that type of person, so I kind of resonated a lot more with Watame and her more calm demeanor, just more happy-go-lucky, but kind of calm as well. And I was like, well, if she can do that, then that might be fun. Like, I actually started thinking, it's like, hey, 2020 is happening around. I'm having a lot more time. Maybe it's a good idea to do that. And of course, I've been in this whole thing for a while. I didn't grow very much for a while, for a long time. This recent growth was because I became a news tuber. But I was like, well, I'll create a community where I'm just gaming, having fun. The only thing I didn't do before, like I mentioned, because I'm not a really good chatter, at least I wasn't back then, I didn't do just chatting, I just did gaming. That's pretty much what I was, and that's why I didn't grow as much. Just chatting helps you grow because you can connect to your community. But gaming, a lot of times, especially with me not talking, it can get boring. If you're just going to watch someone stand there and not do anything while they're gaming, you can just play the game yourself or watch a no commentary video on gaming. But yeah, that's why I did it. I pretty much did it because there was Watame. I did the PNG tubing, and back then we don't have what we have now. Now you have like PNG tubing where you can breathe, it can do blinking, it can do all that kind of stuff. Back then it was just quite literally, Fugi wasn't even around back then. It was, I forget what the heck it was. It was a whole nother program that I was using. It was a website that I would upload my PNG into, and then it would help do reactives. It was before Fugi became a big thing. Like, Fugi wasn't even around at that time. It was like, because I had to add like my own custom CSS and stuff like that, custom scripts to OBS to actually make it run. And I started with PNG tubing. That's why like nowadays, even for other people, I'm just like some people are like, oh, PNG tubing isn't VTubing. I'm like, if you're doing this and you have an anime style figure, in my opinion, it is VTubing. And if you're doing PNG tubing, that is perfectly fine. I don't have a problem with it because I started with it.
Huh, that's a very well articulated thought on that. That's very good because everybody has a different style of streaming, their own style of content, and that's good to always have your own feel. Don't feel like you have to
Yeah.
be like someone else. That's my struggle with a lot when I first started. I was trying to figure out what I exactly wanted to do as a content creator. I felt like I had to go by this certain algorithm of being a VTuber, even to where I was a little nervous of showing my MMA talent, which some have seen in the past. I've already posted about it
Yeah.
with my little talent reveal. I was a little nervous at first, but then I sat down and I talked with my own father. We thought about it, and you know what? I said, this is what I want to do. I want to show my talent for MMA. I want to just show them that, yeah, this is who I am. This is what I love doing. Because at the end of the day, I thank God that I have the energy to wake up and just show my talent. Because some people, they have a talent, but they feel so nervous about what people may think of them that they stay within the shell. And for me, just continuing to really go forward and pursue what I love doing, feels like throughout these years up to now, I've really came a lot out of my shell to where I feel the absolute comfort.
And that's good. It's good to feel comfortable in whatever skin you have. And that is one thing that VTubing allows. Because, recently there's been this VTuber versus IRL thing where you show your IRL face. And that has gotten a lot of people to realize, heck, some of the people, like, for example, Tricky V, Bao, etc., aren't bad looking.
They're gorgeous.
But, yeah, they're amazing. Everybody's amazing in their own skin. But, like, you're like, oh, you could do IRL. But a lot of them, like, when they actually talk about it, they're like, the reason why I don't do IRL is because when it was IRL, like, some people did start as IRL. Like, for example, Skuchan, who is now just, no, I think it was Saruet, who right now just does VTubing. She used to have an IRL Twitch channel. The problem was way too many people were being way too creepy with her. And she was like, not only are they creepy, I can be fine with creeps, but they know my face. So that's a problem. For her, that was a problem. Now, all of that stuff, of course, has been wiped, and she is just doing VTubing right now because a lot of people have said the same thing. Yes, a lot of people are like, yes, I know I'm conventionally attractive, but I don't want to do it because it has the creeps that are like, oh my God, where's your blue Twitch? I call it blue Twitch. You already know what it is. OF. I call it blue Twitch because Twitch doesn't like when you talk about it. So I have the blue Twitch, or I have the yellow Twitch, which is something else, or any of those other places. I have all those. I don't have those, but people ask about having all those. Do I have that? Can I make one? That type of thing, or like show me your feet or whatever it is. And people do get a little way too creepy.
Yeah, who wants to do sussy bakas? I mean,
yeah.
It's like,
heck, when I've noticed it when I have my female VTuber model. So people get kind of creepy with that. Not my community, but people will pop in and get creepy about that. And it's just like, holy shit. I have a male voice, for fuck's sake. And still, because then they're like, oh, you're a femboy. I'm like, well, I have nothing against femboys, but I don't. If you would see me IRL, I'm pretty sure you would say that I'm not a femboy.
that goes to our second question. What was the most crazy thing that's ever happened to you on stream?
On stream, actually, the craziest thing that's ever happened to me is someone during the whole Selen era type stuff. There was someone from the Nidhi Sanji community, not direct Nidhi Sanji, I always call them the extremists inside of Nidhi Sanji, that actually doxed me on my stream. Like, actually went and I, of course, didn't react to it. I just deleted it. I privated the VOD because just in case, because from when it's there to when it's deleted, a lot of times it'll stay on the VOD, especially like on YouTube and such. They did it on both YouTube and on Twitch because I co-stream on both. And I didn't end the stream. I just muted it. I banned the person. And one thing that I always recommend when you have like if people know your name, etc., like that, it's better to not have that because it's very easy to fall into the trap of wanting to make it a banned word. It's best not to do that. I mean, you could do it however you want, but in my opinion, I haven't banned my name, my IRL name, and I haven't banned my IRL address. I just delete it because everyone knows that doxing any kind of address, whether it be a business or whatever, I don't allow it on my stream. And unless it's someone that we're talking about, I do not allow IRL names either. Anything that could be considered doxing, I don't allow. So for anyone else in my community, they could be like, oh, that's an IRL name, that's why he deleted it. That's an IRL address, that's why he deleted it. It's not, oh, it's his address. Because what you do with that as well is you give the people who have your address, you give them the ammo that they need. It's like, okay, he has it banned, which means that it is his address. And then they go and spread it out. My docs were spread out in something that used to be nyfco.org, I believe it used to be like that. It was a place for people who are called Niti Sisters, which is basically extremists who idolize Niti Sanji. They use that as their place to hate others. One of the ways that they wanted to hate me is that they released my docs. They doxed me, my family, the way our photos and things like that. So luckily, that site is gone. It's been gone for over 6 months, I think. It's been gone since like September of last year, I think it was.
That's good.
Because they doxed other people too. And once you start doxing, there are no site operators that will protect you at that point. They're like, even if you're paying for the site and you're paying for the domain, no domain operator is going to protect you if you start doxing other people, because it's pretty much illegal everywhere. Even in Eastern Europe, where there are less laws, it's still illegal over there.
Yeah, it's definitely illegal. And the thing is, the crazy thing is how people, once they start doing it, they try to get away from it. It's just, and that's something I've always been nervous about, is accidentally doxing myself or accidentally having someone try to dox me. But it's like knowing how to properly deal with it, staying calm and not letting it bother you. You continue to just keep pushing forward. It's like, okay, they don't really know who you are, so if they try to throw these random names, what does it matter? It's like they don't know you.
Yeah, exactly.
They're not telepathic, because believe me, if you were a telepath, you do not want to see what's in my brain.
I think that's true for a lot of people, but yeah, it's one of those things that, like I said, if you go and ban them or ban other people and ban those things from being said in your chats and things like that, of course, it helps to have mods who are open and available and ready, basically ready and able to see all that. It's good to have that, but in case if you don't, it's pretty easy to get rid of it without having to quote unquote block it, and have people think that that those are your docs, etc. So that's one reason why I don't have, even though my docs have been out there, I don't have anything blocked per se, because yeah, like I said, I just don't want to give them any kind of firepower to be like, okay, he has it blocked, so these are his stuff. It's tough out there. Eventually, if you are someone who does any kind of content creation, eventually you will, unfortunately, get doxed in one way or another. Unfortunately, but or not full docs, not like your name, address, and that kind of stuff, but something will come out eventually. Some people have accidentally shown their faces, and then people, keep that there. That type of stuff has happened. So
I'm safe there. Then I'm safe, because when I showed my MMA, when I did my MMA talent debut, yeah, I mean, if some of my face is showing, I'm not really nervous about that, and I've thought about this. Eventually, I will do an open face reveal after I get into a good agency. I thought about this now. I really thought hard, and I say, you know what? Once I get into a good agency, when I feel the time is ready, I'm going to do an epic face reveal. I don't have to become some big famous person to do that. I mean, there have been some VTubers who actually have already shown their true selves before they got their VTuber form. So, I'm not really nervous about that. And I mean, even if y'all did see my IRL form, what does it matter? I got a lit personality. I'm humble, I'm genuine, I'm kind. It's like with Corey
Which is good.
Kenshin, which Corey Kenshin, he is one of my other inspirations about IRL content. So it's just, even when I feel nervous, I think of how would Corey Kenshin handle the situation, and just keep moving on from there.
That's a good way of seeing it. Yeah, definitely a good way of seeing it. But yeah, it's it can be hard. It can be hard creating stuff. But like going back to people already having their faces shown. Like for example, Mori Calliope, she was a rapper beforehand. I already know. Like I know, not gonna say who they are, but I know both Mori, Kiara, I know who they were before. Matsuri, I know who they were before. Mio, I've seen her face before. A lot of VTubers who are part of Hololive have had their, like Amelia Watson, I've also seen her face before. Gura, I don't think is ever actually shown her face, although I have seen, I think she did at one point a long time ago, not as Gura, but as the person that she was before. That is, of course, that went through the internet. Crony, other people like that, Crony, Mume, etc. I've seen their faces, but of course, because I know who they were before. But it's not one of those things like, oh, I'm gonna show your face if you don't do this or that. That's the unfortunate part of being an IRL VTuber, or an IRL tuber, a bread tuber, whatever you want to call it, and then going into VTubing later. There are always going to be those weirdos who will be like, oh, I know your face, I'm going to show it to other people. Unfortunately. And that is a very unfortunate thing that does happen. Of course, you can try your best to make sure it doesn't happen, but it's once the internet finds out what you look like, sometimes people will be creepy. That's the unfortunate side.
Yeah, that does happen. It's just a matter of staying calm and just, yeah, you're going to deal with the occasional weirdos. That's something I am very used to with my part. Well, my neighborhood is pretty chill, but you do have the occasional weirdos, and it's just maintaining the calmness, just moving on, and not letting the pressure, the stress, because that's what they want to do, is just get you scared. It's a mind game. It's like if I can put you on a chain, like Alistair and Husk, if I can put you on a chain and control you with fear, then they have control, period. And it's just mainly, even if someone does dox you, stay calm. Don't give them that power, because first off, they could be wrong. I mean, it's not like people can just say, oh, that's what your face looks like.
Yeah.
They could be just straight up lying just for clout, for anything. People do that all the time, so it's just a ruse. It's just for, what's the word? For, well, clout.
Yeah. That's very true. And that it is unfortunate that does happen a lot in society in general. And that is where you try to balance everything, both being a creator and, being with your community, having fun with your community and things like that. But also tempering expectations from your community as well. Like I love my community. I actually like the people that are there. I have people who are continuously there, and I'm always happy to see them. And I always, ask how they're doing and that type of stuff like that. But of course, I'm sure they understand as well as I do that each person has their own life, and not because, I'm friends with them on stream or whatever like that, am I going to be asking them for anything at all, period. That's why I don't even ask for like donations or anything like that. Just if people want to, they give. And when they do, I'm extremely happy, of course, because that helps me in doing what I need. But it's kind of one of those things that chat reflects the streamer. It kind of goes to that a little bit, where if you try to create a good community like you're doing, you're going to have good people that are going to gravitate towards you. And of course, you're going to have bad eggs. There's always bad eggs. But you're, in general, going to gravitate good people towards you. And that's what I try to do too.
And that's good. That's all we can do. Even with drama and negativity, if we can be beacons, that's what I try to do. If I can be a beacon of inspiration, of positive energy, of hope, That's what I try to do. I try to make sure that I can always, even with past dramas, I don't like to end things on a sense of dread or sorrow or mind aching, keeping you up all night anxiety. I try to be someone who, I try to give the idea of hope, but honest hope. I try to make sure
Yeah,
that I don't leave things on a negative end, but just say, hey, things might be bad now, but it's like that one scene in Spider-Man, Spider-Man Beyond the Spider-Verse, where
yeah,
it was like bad things happen, but good things happen too afterwards. You just have to keep your head up, stay calm, and just whatever happens, just don't let it bother you. Don't let it scare you. You just keep being the better person. You learn from it because yeah, bad things will happen and it will hurt like a crap ton. I've learned that from personal experience growing up. But at the same time, you learn from the pain, you let it be a motivator to be a better person, and sounds kind of like an anime speech, but you keep pushing towards being the better person that you can be so that one day you can be an inspiration for others. And at the end of the day,
yeah,
it feels good being able to do that because it's like with Corey Kenshin, how he is one of my biggest inspirations since I was in middle school. Because I'm telling you, seeing him grow, just like me right now, he's been doing this since college. And seeing him grow up to where he is now, it's like things are going to get better. If we keep pushing to
yeah,
be the best that we can be, things will get better. Yeah, it will be difficult. Sometimes you'll have days where it feels like, crap, I can't do this. But you keep pushing. Like another VTuber friend of mine has said in the past, don't let the demons win. Because you gonna have demons who will try to tell you, oh, you can't do this. But don't let them win. You keep
no,
fighting.
yeah, absolutely.
You keep pushing. And if one stream doesn't go good, because I've had some past streams that didn't go good, and I said, you know what? I'm still gonna save them because of the good memories. Like how
Yeah,
recently I had a Wolfenstein stream, which my audio before this was a lot better. It's just OBS didn't agree with my filter, so it reset. But I kept going anyway. I mean, if my audio isn't perfect on one stream, no problem. I still save it because of the memories. It's like,
no, absolutely.
yeah, and it's like every stream that's done in the past to now I've saved because this is like history that I want my future kids and descendants to see. If the internet's still around, that is, but this is
Yeah,
like something I want to be archived in the history data files, and just feels good. I mean, like right now, just making friends, meeting people, and one day, hopefully, nah, I will. I've said this a lot of times at the end of my streams. One day I want to get into a good agency and just make a lot of friends, make memories, and be a role model that a lot of young people, especially young people and seniors, can be proud of. Like
yeah.
when they hear the name Zach Black and see me, they think of someone that the young people can look up to. That's something I try to always remember. Oh, you were about to say something. Sorry.
No, no worries, no worries, no worries. I have absolutely no issue here. What I did want to mention is since we were mentioning things about during bad times and things like that, one of the things I did want to mention is a quote that I always like from well, one of the people that I watched when I was little was Mr. Rogers, Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. He was always a very very sweet person. He was always super super kind, and he's been around since like the 60s. He was around, but he passed away. But one of the quotes that I liked so much from him, which is something that I try to emulate as much as I can during times of chaos and times of drama and such. Yes, I'm a commentator. Yes, I do criticize people, but I do try to bring some positivity in some way. And one thing he said is, when I was a boy and I would see scary things in the news, my mother would say to me, look for the helpers. You will always find people who are helping. So that was a way for, of course, a mother to not let Fred Rogers, which is his actual name, feel like scared. Because when you're a kid and you see like those types of things, you think, the world's ending, everything's going to hell. Why are so many people suffering? But if you look for the helpers, there's always going to be someone helping there, no matter what. There's always, and in many cases, like for example, earthquakes and stuff like that, when buildings collapse, first people that you'll see there are random folks. They're not just going to be firefighters there right away. The firefighters take a while to get there. The rescue folks take a while to get there. It's usually neighbors, passersby, etc., going and trying to help, moving things with their bare hands in many cases to try to help people out there. And that is one thing that I try to emulate. Of course, because of the fact that I do criticize people and things like that, that isn't caught most of the time. Like, people don't catch on to it very much. But either way, I am glad that I'm able to do some helping when I can, and I do try as best I can.
That's all we can do, is try to help out where we can, even when it's hard.
Yeah. Yep.
And that brings us to our third question: is what is your favorite video game?
Let's see. Well, I mean, nostalgia is a hell of a drug. So I do like old school, like Sonic, Sonic 2, that type of thing. Recently, I've really liked Clear Obscure, and Doom the Dark Ages is good. Doom the Dark Ages, I don't see it as a continuation of like Doom Eternal or anything like that, because I really, really, really enjoyed Doom Eternal.
Yeah, it's a prequel.
It is, yeah, it's a prequel. It's basically when you're his time in Argent Denur before the makers did what happened in Doom Eternal. That is him when he was under the control of the makers and doing their own thing. Of course, not spoiling anything, but if you know about the history of Doom and the codex that were in Doom Eternal, you'll know the backstory of Doom and what's going on between those times. Basically, a war between Argent Denur and those that are, part of Hell in this case, and their fight towards trying to protect. You already know what ends up happening because of what Doom Eternal shows, but
yeah, that's why I want to play. That's why I want to play Doom: The Dark Ages and 20. I want to play it in lore accurate timeline. So Dark Ages, 2016, then Eternal, then Ancient Gods, of course.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It is interesting that they decided to do the prequel thing, but it is also nice to see them give a bit of a backstory. But the reason why I say Doom Eternal isn't exactly the same as like Doom itself is Doom: The Dark Ages, because Doom Eternal was a very fast-paced game. Doom: The Dark Ages kind of still has that a little bit, but it's a different type of fast-paced game. This one has more of, you'll be fighting hordes, like groups of people, and then that makes it a little bit fast-paced. But it does have a different feel. It does absolutely have a different feel. But yeah, so far those are the games that I do like.
Yeah, I'm also into like supernatural beam up games. My favorite is chat already knows, Evil West. I love that game. Evil West. Nice. I actually did a playthrough. We actually just beat Evil West like a month ago.
Oh, very nice.
And it has been one of my favorite games because of the weapons, the story, the characters, and just going and fighting vampires, werewolves, mutated vampires and werewolves. It is so... They weren't lying when they say it's kind of like Doom. Just running gun, beating down monsters with like this supernatural anti-technology. And
oh, very nice.
Yeah, and with Evil West, and then there's also Doom. I am a heavy Doom fan. I love the Doom Slayer. Some might say I'm kind of a glazer, but who could blame me? It's the Doom Slayer.
Yeah, it's definitely a strong person that has a lot of morals and ethics and stuff like that. They do love ripping and tearing, but the ripping and tearing, the forces of hell, they really don't go against anybody that doesn't go against them. So that is a very... I do like the Doom Slayer as well. Yeah, the Doom guy.
Yeah, he has like this whole... It's like... And here's the best part about... words. Here's the best part I love about the Doom Slayer. Is that when he doesn't speak, you can tell his emotions just by his body language.
Oh, yeah.
And even when the helmet is on, it's like that one scene in Deadpool Wolverine where you could read the emotions. He's a silent but gentle giant when he's not killing.
Yeah.
Because they have mentioned, and I remember this from a webcomic Daisy Eternal, where his pet bunny Daisy was actually his therapy animal, which understandable. I mean,
Absolutely understandable, yeah.
I mean, seriously, just seeing Doom, the Slayer, having a gentle side, shows that he's not some killer meathead. He's actually a
No.
gentle soul who has been through literal hell
Yeah.
save-
in various ways, yeah.
to save. And that's the funny thing. He's fighting for a planet that has literally cursed itself. That is strong moral integrity. Because most would say, nah, you brought this on yourself, you on your own. But he's literally fighting demons, demigods, literal God only knows what, just to save a planet that cursed itself. I mean, he even went as far as shooting himself out of a BFG cannon.
Yeah.
Like a giant gun that can destroy a planet. He shot himself out of that just to land on Mars. This man is a whole new level of aura. Which just says
exactly.
Which just says huge respects. Like, I'm telling you, if they make a Doom Eternal, if they make a movie based off the video games, they better do it right. They better do it right. Don't pull a Sonic like they nearly messed up Sonic. Do the Doom Slayer justice. Please make a good movie. And nothing like the original Doom one, which was absolute crap. Like, please.
Yeah.
Please make a really good Doom movie.
I hope they do. I definitely hope they do.
I hope they have,
now,
like, the
as
Crucible.
I mentioned. Oh, yeah. On YouTube, you can go and take a look at basically story of Doom. You can look at a lot of those. A lot of people have made it. It tells you pretty much everything lore-wise and not lore-wise. Basically, some of it is kind of before the Doom the Dark Ages. A lot of it was kind of like, maybe this was happening. At least we knew a little bit about it. Now this kind of gives you a little bit more in the codex and things like that. That's why I always, while I'm playing it, I try to pick up the codex whenever I can, in order to, I try to do as completionist as I can in order to get more of the story. As I mentioned before, Zach, I do apologize. I do have to go because of, afternoon shit.
Oh yeah, no problem.
So I apologize for that.
But yeah, hey, thanks for coming by the dojo. Really look forward to us doing this again sometime, just growing our friendship and growing our communities.
Oh, absolutely.
It's always good to hang out with another VTuber. And again, huge thanks, man. So that being said,
and sorry about the whole cutting this short. I apologize for that.
Oh no, it's cool, man. It's cool. Hey, I get it. Believe me, I get it. We all have our schedules. That's the thing about me. If you have a schedule, no problems. You can always reschedule. Communication is key. That's all that matters.
Absolutely. And one of the big things that I always tell people is, my family's learned this. Schedule for someone like myself that has autism is quite literally can change your mood. If the schedule isn't kept, like I usually give myself about 5 to 10 minutes of leeway. That's why I can still talk here. If the schedule isn't kept though, I notice the mood changes. I've done a lot. Like I said, I'm an adult, so I have to learn how to deal with that. I've done a lot of things to change that up, but it's really, really strange how the mind works, how the wiring is, where if there's a change to something set, it causes anxiety, and then that's when the mood changes. So I really do appreciate you being so understanding, and thank you, Le Pauler. I hope that's actually
Les Pauler.
Les Pauler, because I know in France it's Le.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's Le or Les, but either way, thank you so much for being here, and also thank you for the warm welcome that you guys have given me. I really do appreciate that.
No probs. You take care, man. Stay awesome.
You too. Yes, absolutely. You too. And enjoy the rest of the stream. Whatever it be, I hope you have lots of fun.
Thanks.
All right. Talk to you later.
Talk to you later. That was awesome, Warriors. Another fellow VTuber we just met. That was awesome indeed. With that being said, we're going to go ahead and continue stream. Of course, we're not done yet. We're going to continue on with some more reactions. It was a pleasure. It was a pleasure. Yes, it was, my friend. Thank you again. It's always good to meet friendly faces. Always good to make friends within the VTuber multiverse. That's what we always stand for here at the Lit Dojo. Always making friends and just being neighborly. That's all that matters. That being said, I'm going to go grab some snacks. get ready for a reaction portion of the stream. Just sit back and vibe for a bit, and yeah, that'll be a GG. So sit on back, grab some snacks, as I sure do, and we're gonna be right back. There we go. Okay, so here's the video that Les Pollard wanted to show us, which honestly, this is pretty hilarious, my guy. This is pretty hilarious. After reviewing it myself, yeah, this is pretty hilarious. Alright, make sure my volume's nice and high. Let me say my grace first. Amen. My guy, stop. Stop. You are not a cowboy. Okay? You are not a cowboy, son. Just stop.
What the hell?
Dude, you could have shot your wife. And boy, pull those belt buckles back up. Nah, pull your pants buckles back up. You are not a hillbilly. You are not a country boy. I don't know who you trying to fool. Who you trying to fool indeed. I know my man ain't trying to flex. Please. You do not get to flex. Yeah, I'm going to flex the fact that I nearly tried to shoot my wife. Really, my G? We really going down that route, huh?
Are you out of your fucking mind?
Relax, Lois. I was aiming for the
Fair point. Are you out of your mind? You could have shot your wife, man. And I don't think you want that.
mailbox. I'm just trying to make a point.
Good morning, Lois.
Peter, for God's sake! I am so sorry, Mort.
No problem, Lois. That's just how people say hello to me. Hey, Joe.
Hey, Mort.
What? No. My good sir, are you okay? That's not how people formally greet one another. You must be on that good cush. That good cushion alcohol to think that. Alright, moving on. Moving on, though, here's some more videos I wanted to show y'all. Let me see. Bingo. Here it is. Okay, I really wanted to show y'all this yesterday. I actually should have showed this since last night's stream was kind of a little off the Friday vibes, but that's okay. Again, I really wanted to beat me side. I thought it was one of those save and then play later games, but no. You have to literally replay the whole thing again. Why you finna do us like that, me side? That is the most devilish thing you could do to a person. Have me sit through all that horror crap. Okay, sure. Real funny. Me side, you are one evil she-devil. That's all I gotta say. And I rarely have said that much, but man. But with that being said, no, you don't. I said multiple times that there are saves. There are saves in me side? There are saves? How? 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 I try to save. How? This is the biggest fumble in my whole career so far. I have been fumbled. I've been Ronald McFumbled. I've been fumbled like how you fumble a perfect field goal. This is an epic fumble of fumble proportions, chat. All rise for the national fumble anthem. Hold up. All rise for the national fumble anthem. Thank you for rising for the National Fumble Anthem. It ain't finger licking good. It's diarrhea dangerous. But here's some weapon upgrades from Doom. Satisfying. Now this is what I call ASMR, chat. Oh yeah, yippee-ki-yay. I love that sound. Precision shots. Immaculate. Immaculate damage. Ah, the missiles. Well, actually, the shotgun. So, no, actually, as someone who's played Doom 2016, the shotgun, the difference between the shotgun in 2016 and Eternal is that if you look at the designs, the barrel design and shape, you could tell there's a difference. Plus, in 2016, there's a pulse blast. I believe it was like a charge blast with the 2016 shotgun. No spoilers on Eternal, but we'll have to look into that. I'm like a child watching fireworks go off. This is why I love the Doom Slayer. So many good guns. Any legendary main character with weapons like this? Nah. We need to make a tier list of most alpha main protagonists ever. We need to make a tier list of that sometime. Let her rip. Pop, go the weasel. Oh, remote detonator. A little anti-com. Well, no, that could be useful. I mean, remote detonator on the bazooka is a little questionable, but I can see its potential. I mean, I'm no expert, so. Lock on burst. Nice. I'd buy that for $1. Ah, the flaming meat hook. Bro, imagine the Doomslayer just like grappling across the sky with the meat hook, like Batgirl almost. That'd be crazy. Like just him grappling through the sky, which, well, he can already do that. He can literally swing around the battlefield, just ring around the rosy on a demon, like Indiana Jones. Love the design on this gun. It's like a massive crossbow cannon. Nice. Really love how they made the guns. How each one is just versatile in design. They really put a lot of detail in making them. And you could say that for a lot of games, but this game, they really cooked on design and detail. Okay, this is why I love Doom. The weapons are just awesome. They're legendary. Exactly, the weapons are legendary. Ah, the chain gun. And there's the force shield. Would definitely recommend this on my build. I'd definitely take the force field. Although you get both upgrades anyway, so... Me personally, I'd go into combat like this. Shield and gun. Just playing it defensive while also offensive at the same time. That's perfect. Mobile turret. Such symphony. That will never get old. The BFG. Big Fat Gun. Big fluffy gun. Okay, I see the Unmaker. I feel like the Unmaker, they could have gone with something else with the Unmaker. I mean, it could be like this massive laser cannon. And instead of just multiple shots like a shotgun, just the design says massive laser beam, not shotgun blast. I really feel like they could have done more with the Unmaker. Like this massive Kamehameha massive beam type weapon. But then that could have came off as a little bit too overpowered, maybe. I still feel like and believe that they could have done a lot more with the Unmaker. That's just my humble opinion. I'm gonna keep it a buck, I'm gonna keep it a band. That's just how I see it. They could have made the Unmaker like this massive laser cannon. I mean, sure you got the Basilisk, the crossbow one. Sure, you could say it's kind of like that too, but on a more precise level. I mean, me personally, I feel like the Unmaker could have been a different attack style. They could have made it have a massive beam attack. That's just my opinion, of course. Mostly for swarms. Shoulder gun. Explosive fire and... Ah, fisticuff. Yo, fisticuff. Slicey dicey. And off you go. Bro, you can chainsaw the torso? Now see, I used to try that. I used to actually try that. I used to try that back in... Well, no, see, that's Doom 2016. That's different. Man, that's crazy. My man could actually chainsaw the torso guts of the of the mancubus. That's what they're called, the mancubus. I want to call him the no, the cacao demon. That's like the floating meatball. That's the floating meatball one. Now, as far as the other video, which one was that? Okay. Let me just first. I'm trying to go ahead and pull up. Trying to just pull that up now. Here we go.
What do you get when you have a filmmaker who can't write? A cinematographer. What do you get when you have a cinematographer without vision? A camera reviewer. And so the camera reviewer, videographer content space has like exploded over the last 10 years thanks to the DSLR revolution. Exploded with guys who are either really uncharming and try to be funny or dudes who care way more about their Instagram optics than actually learning their job. Men who primarily shoot fast cars and women are the biggest scumbags in this industry. And every time it's a backwards baseball cap with a Sony mirrorless or a student level red and they have zero sentience of what a tungsten light is. That's just one of the many examples of idiots who go on YouTube and skip steps and want to act like dropping $8,000 on a camera package makes them professional. So I got to take them all back to school, or just school because they never learned the first time, and look at the full spectrum of digital video cameras. I'm going from the Handycam your mom bought for your esports recital all the way up to what Oscar-winning films are being shot on right now. We're also going to look at the tech and features of...
All right, fair point, because I got a cousin who also does film I have a cousin who does film photography, so peep facts on all of this. Before you do any content, and this goes for myself as well when I first started, before you do any form of content creation, focus on the best kind of camera you want. Don't focus on something that's affordable, yes, but has the best quality. That's my try to focus on my Logitech, which I've had for years now. The same Logitech that I'm using on my VTuber form now, I've had since, well, practically I've had since 2016 or 2017 when I was still in high school. So that says a lot.
Would separate one camera from another because your iPhone doesn't look like red for a reason beyond the price tag. I am a full-time producer and award-winning filmmaker. The first one actually means something. And these are the 7 tiers of video cameras. Now this is pretty much a list of categorized memories, either stuff working guys told me about cameras or takeaways I had from shooting dozens of cameras over the last decade from all your favorite brands. It's based on the expectations of a primary cinematography camera and is subject to change as time moves on. The camera you need a loan for now is going to end up on eBay for a few thousand in 10 years. But I don't want to jump to the future until we look at the past we've all experienced at one point. Tier 7, toys. Everybody shot with these. Give me the Sony Handycam, the Canon Vixia, Flip Minnow HD, cameras that solely exist to prove you're not lying. Yeah, I went to my son's soccer game. Yeah, I met Rodney King. Nowadays, the smartphone cameras entirely replace these, but that hasn't stopped Best Buy from trying to sell them to old people. Everything's automatic. The focus, the white balance, the guilt of actually buying one. You can't plug a microphone into it. You're lucky if it has an HDMI out. Though let's be honest, these cameras weren't made for you to make money with. They're made for the manufacturer to make money with. But there was a time when people needed to shoot references for animation or choreography and didn't have a cell phone to do it. Even Michael Jackson was a tier 7 camera user. Of course, now there's a vintage following for a lot of these consumer electronics that they want to crack it open, make a quirky music video, stage a murder, whatever. Some people might be watching this like, I want to make YouTube videos where I talk about hobbies. Let's see what camera's right for me. This is the right camera for you. Vlog watchers don't care about visuals. Keep your iPhone still, get a lamp, it's fine. Doug DeMuro's a multi-millionaire car reviewer. He shoots on iPhone. It's the content, not the camera. If your videos are about Pokemon cards or vintage computers, you don't need an expensive camera. If your videos are short films and camera tech, you do need an expensive camera. So we got 6 more tiers to go. Is the next one the cool professional cameras? No. Tier 6, toys with a purpose. We're still fully immersed in the Best Buy camera section, but it's the best of the Best Buy camera section. You still won't find a single legitimate A camera in Tier 6, but some of these...
So that's a good note too. I mean, get a camera based on what you need. If you need something for like a simple, say, recording, filming and stuff, yeah, you want to buy the most best of the best. But if it's something like just streaming, like a like a web camera, then just buy that. Don't buy something too expensive. Make sure you buy what you need that will get the job done at an affordable price. That's what matters the most. Oh, hold on, let me click the screen. There we go.
Do show up on bigger productions. Most commonly the GoPro, which until the Hero 3 Black was an absolute toy, but 1440p at 48 frames a second got the camera onto movies like Avengers Age of Ultron or Fast and the Furious. Not as the camera giving you the 20-second sunset shot. They were mounted to cars and crashed into walls for cuts lasting less than 2 seconds. Because if you hold it for longer than that, the audience goes, wow, that seemed out of place, gonna tell them that in my movie review. If you see a GoPro in the camera's list of a big action movie, it was probably destroyed and written off on the insurance. Every GoPro Hero 8 and newer is a passable option if you need affordable high-def slow-mo footage. The other big one here is all the Sony VX1000 ripoffs, the Canon XAs, JVC GYs, basically better versions of the family camcorder. XLR inputs, manual focus rings, but it's still a tiny sensor with bad color science, bad roll-off, and recording to a bad codec. If you want to shoot run-and-gun interviews, it's not a bad option, just don't expect anyone to think it's broadcast quality. So there's still plenty of cheap options for 6K footy, which you can entirely avoid paying for if you buy a little gimbal for your iPhone. Seriously, iPhones and Galaxy Notes put the entire consumer camera market out of business. When they start doing 240 frames per second, GoPro's gone forever. Now with these Filmic Pro apps, they're trying to shoot feature films on iPhones, which is cool, but a tiny sensor just can't replicate the movie magic of
Well, if that happens, sometimes bigger products become better. Better products, better mindsets come in, and you start buying the better brand. So things get put out of business sometimes. That's just how it goes.
shallow depth and field. The blurry background is the first thing that sticks out to people when separating a video from a movie. Clients have asked for that and nothing else. And the next tier is all about that. Tier 5, photography. You can't explain why very expensive cameras look the way they do now without talking about the DSLR revolution. Stills cameras are used to shoot filmic video all the time now, but back in 2008, that was a novel concept brought to us by the Canon 5D Mark II. It was the first camera under $10,000 that could shoot progressive video on a big sensor. Now, they didn't do this for the pretentious film students making dramedy shorts about why women hate them. They did it as a convenience for photojournalists to shoot interviews with the same camera they were shooting their stills with. You can tell it wasn't designed for cinema because the recording files are tiny compared to the codecs colorists actually want to work with. That didn't stop everyone from wanting one, though. First, it was commercials and parts of TV episodes using them. Then it was entire TV episodes using them. And eventually, entire feature films were being shot on Canon DSLRs. Now, why would productions with actual money use a prosumer stills camera? It was a small, convenient device that gave you the 5 essential controls of photography: white balance, ISO, shutter speed, aperture, and interchangeable lenses. If a camera won't let you control any of these 5 things, it's a toy. So the Canon 5D Mark II is the sole evolutionary crux of why we now have a million wannabe filmic stills and video cameras. Ironically enough, most of the Canon DSLRs are at the bottom rung.
That reminds me of my Sony camera that I use. My Sony 650. The one my cousin gave me. Like the one that I use to record my videos on. When I do my MMA workouts and stuff. That's what I just record. That's what I use to record. And so far the quality is getting better. It's improving. So I'm really glad my cousin gave me that camera. Especially helped me find the parts on Amazon. They were actually quite affordable too. They were in the hundreds, but hey, better be in the hundreds than in the thousands. Am I right, y'all? Definitely better be in the hundreds.
All the time now, but back in 2008, that was a novel concept brought to us by the Canon 5D Mark II. It was the first camera under $10,000 that could shoot progressive video on a big sensor. Now, they didn't do this for the pretentious film students making dramedy shorts about why women hate them. They did it as a convenience for photojournalists to shoot interviews with the same camera they were shooting their stills with. You can tell it wasn't designed for cinema because the recording files are tiny compared to the codecs colorists actually want to work with. That didn't stop everyone from wanting one, though. First, it was commercials and parts of TV episodes using them. Then it was entire TV episodes using them. And eventually, entire feature films were being shot on Canon DSLRs. Now, why would productions with actual money use a prosumer stills camera? It was a small, convenient device that gave you the 5 essential controls of photography: white balance, ISO, shutter speed, aperture, and interchangeable lenses. If a camera won't let you control any of these 5 things, it's a toy. So the Canon 5D Mark II is the sole evolutionary crux of why we we now have a million wannabe filmic stills and video cameras. Ironically enough, most of the Canon DSLRs are at the bottom rung of tier 5 for not really improving that much in the last 10 years, along with the Nikon and Sony NEX equivalents. Further up that list are most of the Sony Alpha mirrorless series, A7S, A7R, A1, not the steak sauce, all internally recording to a codec that's okay, but leaves a lot to be desired for colorists. I don't care if it has external RAW, I'm not recording to a monitor bigger than the camera. And there's Panasonic S1H and GH6, which feel a little better, but all the way up to the R5C by Canon, which does do internal RAW, they all have these lame-ass sensors with one problem or another. It'll have an ugly noise pattern. If it's not that, it's ugly color science. If it's not that, the highlights clip like Legos. It's always something where you could still get a good image out of it if you know what you're doing, but there's just always some cheaper, older camera without the consumer electronics design philosophy that you could be using instead. We'll get to those later. Tier 4, prosumer video. In the last few years, prosumer video cameras have become a little more parallel than better to stills cameras. Some cameras you don't even know where to put them, like the Canon C70 or Sony FX3, where they pump a stills body with mostly video features but still shoot stills at a tradition. Big thing that separates a video camera from a photo camera is the workflow. Time code, highlight zebras, false color, focus markers, all these features and more you can expect to see in a true video camera. Blackmagic design, Canon and Sony pretty much dominate the space. Canon C100 Mark I.
It's like they try to combine every possible feature on a camera on one little camera. I mean, on one end that could work, but you gotta know how things work. You can't just combine different parts and expect them to work in unison. They have to agree with one another without overlapping or disrespecting the other one's function. I mean, that could just be a simple term. That's easier said. That could be easily said for a lot of things. And you're not wrong for thinking that way. It just goes down to simple basics. Understand the parts, know how they work, and then know how each respective part works, period. Before you try to slap something together. Because cameras don't always work like that. They don't. Hold on, I got a little mustard on my clicker. Some mustard on my grate. Got some mustard on my mouse. I might just have to get a Q-tip and wipe that out. It'll be alright. Got some mustard on my mouse, but it'll be alright. I'll just clean it out later.
One was basically a 5D with video workflow. They had two higher trim levels, the C300 and C500, but these internally recorded to garbage compression rates and the sensors had ugly highlights. With bigger cameras, it's generally more accepted to use those external recording methods, but Blackmagic's flooded the prosumer tier with cameras that internally record to high-quality codecs. So why aren't all these cameras higher? Most of them have trash-ass, tiny little weird pattern sensors, and for a while, rather than fixing that problem, Blackmagic would just have tools to fix it in DaVinci Resolve. But the raw recording option had a lot of people overlook that. So you're not shooting on garbage, you're shooting on raw garbage. Blackmagic's Pocket 4K is the best of this tier because it fixes a lot of those earlier sensor issues. I'm still not putting it any higher on this list because it's a tiny-ass micro 4/3 sensor. Tiny sensors look cheaper and clients don't want that. There's a few exceptions to that I'll get to later, but we're in the 2020s now. I thought micro 4/3 were this budgetary thing when the tech was still new. Bigger formats are really cheap now. You have micro 4/3 lenses? I'm sorry you fell for that Ponzi scheme. Go on eBay and sell them to some other idiot who thinks they're good. As for Sony, they'll always give you big formats, but it's at the cost of lackluster color science and highlights, and their cameras can be annoyingly proprietary. Oh, and I want to honorable mention the Sony PMW F3. Great ergonomics, nice 1080p sensor, all entirely chokeholded by obsolete recording options. They used to be only $600 on eBay, and then some incel made a video about them and they got overpriced. One thing I need to make extremely clear with every camera in this tier, if you're learning cinematography, these are perfectly fine cameras. If anything, it's better to learn with a flawed sensor because it forces you to refine and discipline yourself as a cinematographer without the
And yes, 9% of all Cine cameras look great with this amount of grip and lighting. Yes, that is true. As when I was working with my cousin on one to sign up for college, lighting is important, especially if you use more natural light. If you use natural light, it makes things more naturalistic. Now, it's okay to use some artificial light, but you don't want that to overbalance or outweigh the other light. Otherwise, you'll have to work on trying to... And I'm trying to remember how he said, because I'm not exactly a camera expert myself, but some things I can't remember. But it's always important to maintain a balanced lighting between natural and unnatural. It really is. I'll be right back because I'm gonna grab myself a beverage. Meanwhile, just sit back and vibe. And we are back, Warriors. Thanks for the patience. Thank you for your patience as always. Just got myself a beverage, and of course, as you've already seen on Twitter, I have posted our recently newest TikToks for both not only VTuber wise, but MMA wise. So feel free to check out the MMA channel. It will be on my link tree or bonsai tree, my MMA YouTube and TikTok with fresh new videos from today. Always trying to keep up the grind and just showing my special talent. And I really appreciate the new subscribers who came too. Thank you for helping the MMA channel grow. It's very much appreciated. And I appreciate all your kind words and motivation as I strive to improve and continue showing my craft as a mixed martial arts warrior. Thank you. With that being said, let's get back into the stream. Get back into the video.
The ability to correct things in post with a forgiving camera. With that being said, if you need a better camera for work, thinking any of the cameras in this tier are an upgrade, make you look like a clown. Tier 3, production workhorse. So now we're at the really solid cameras you'll come in contact with on commercial TV or Netflix productions. And real quick, the Netflix approved camera list is exclusively corporate lobbying. It exists for camera reviewers to do free advertising for camera companies. You really think someone working acquisitions at Netflix could see the second coming of Forrest Gump, starring A-list talent, finding out it's shot on a Kinefinity Mavo and going, whoa, sorry man, at least a Sony F5, we can't help you, let Hulu have it. It's called clout and everyone chases it. And you'll find outliers here and there, but these are sort of the consensus picks I'm hearing about. At the cheapest rung, you're gonna see Blackmagic Pocket 6K, Canon C200, Panasonic EVA1, and the Blackmagic Ursa Mini Pro. All Super 35 sensors, all can do 4K, no proprietary media, and all internally recorded with
And that's a lot of buttons on the side. How do y'all... Well, I guess it takes experience getting used to the button handling. Yeah, that's probably what it is, so you don't accidentally hit the wrong button. It's like you have to mentally program your fingers to be very well coordinated.
codec that's at least 10-bit 422. 10 bits is the color depth, 422 is the chroma subsampling. Look up what those are later. What's important is 10-bit 422 is the bare minimum color info that post-production wants to work with. Now to me, the Pocket 6K is the greatest value we've seen in a video camera to date. Under $2,000, records raw internal, awesome interface, great color science, and if you plug a broadcast standard battery into it, it'll run for like 8 hours. As you go higher up the list, you're paying for more features and amenities like higher frame rates, better build quality, heat management, audio
Cameras are
interface.
expensive for that when you're trying to get more frames or SD cards. If you're trying to get the best SD card, it's going to cost more because of filing, because of storage too. I mean, that might sound a little basic, but if you're trying to get the biggest storage, you're going to have to cost more for storage. That's just how it is with SD cards and stuff. Believe me, my cousin could tell you straight off the bat.
And I'm probably forgetting something. If you got any one of these cameras, you're set to make money without making a fool of yourself. In terms of the image quality, every camera's fine at this tier for present-day work, but it remains to be seen which one's going to have a certain look that'll remain to be coveted long after their obsolescence. But why would people want them if they're obsolete? Tier 2, Image Queens. Before getting into a list of coveted video sensors, I gotta explain the anatomy of a high-quality video image. At the most basic level, there's 4 dimensions. The first 2 dimensions are the X and Y pixel counts. Those are the easy ones. We know that because consumer electronics marketing shoves it in your face. 720, 1080, 4K, 6K, 8K, and those are counting numbers that any wannabe techie Redditor could understand.
8K?
But if these 2 camera images are 4K, what makes one more valuable than the other? The third dimension of video is Luma. How does it handle light? Dynamic range is the first place people go to because you can simply count the stops. A stop is a relative measurement of light used in photography, and if a camera can retain more stops, it has more dynamic range. The ability to simultaneously retain highlights and save shadows. The Rec 709 consumer video standard is 5 stops. A cheap DSLR can do 7 to 9 stops. A modern camcorder should do 10 plus, and to be a competitive professional camera, you need at least 13 stops. The human eye has 20. I don't actually know that. That's just what Google said. Now, stops aren't everything, but they're a big convenience if you don't have a lot of light control where you're shooting. What is everything is the native gamma curve of your imager, as in how do the highlights roll?
You don't want to miss the fine details within the light. Too much light can be a bad thing, obviously. You want to be balanced between light and dark. That's like how my teacher taught me how to set the shutters for my camera. It's really easy once you get the hang of it. Like, just saying the darkness now, the darker it is, like the more focused it is, the darker it becomes. the more lighter it becomes, the more choppy your visuals become.
Off. How do the mids curve into the shadows? And the better that is, the easier it is to get a good looking color grade on your footage. Some curves look like video, other curves look like film. The fourth dimension of video is chroma, but it's not just about the 422, 444 subsampling. The imagers also have a native color science engineered by the manufacturer. There could be a saturation bias in the reds. The shadows could have a magenta tint. It's way more possibilities than counting pixels up and down. There's an infinite number of different color treatments the manufacturer has to explore for every possible thing their camera could be pointed at. That's the same for Luma, and that's why making an actually good imager is both an art and a science. But a camera's more than just an imager.
Agreeable.
So what happens if you have an awesome silver screen ready image surrounded by clunky ergonomics, heavy metals, proprietary media, and an overall lack of general convenience? You have yourself an image queen, the affordable cinema camera of yesterday with an amazing movie magic sensor and practically nothing else going for it. We cannot start this tier without mentioning the first decade of Red cameras. Red 1 MX is the cheapest
when you
of the
look
Red.
at it, it seems like a fully fluid motioning machine, but when you understand the complexity of it all, I mean, it can be a bit of a mind boggler, a real head scratcher, a real confusionist. And I ain't talking about the philosopher. It can be a real confusion indeed. I mean, seriously. That's a lot. I mean, depending on the job that you're doing, like filming a movie, yeah, that takes a lot now. That takes a lot. But as far as, like, it really depends on the job, too. If you're trying to work on filming, then yeah, you need a camera like this. You'll need something with professional, well, buy so that's affordable. That's not over your budget. But know what you need. Make a list of what you need. Make a list of the best parts that do the best of the work and at the right affordable price. So that way, you know what you need, you know where to get it, and you're not wasting money or time. So, you got a plan. Like my dad always taught me, have a plan, Zach, have a plan.
And it is terrible to work with. It's heavy, clunky, garbage battery life, dumb proprietary media capture, fans that sound like a blow dryer. Oh, and it overheats. A lot. But it gives you a 4.5K image that
We
out
do
of the
not
box
want
just
that.
looks like a real movie. It has a filmography you can sell your clients on. And it's a similar but less extreme story down the rest of Red's first decade. Now, I could overlook all of that if it wasn't for one glaring annoyance that always comes with a Red camera. And that is the Red shooter. There's three kinds of Red shooters. The first is the reluctant Red shooter. I wish I had something else. My client always wants 8K. We can give them a pass. They're still mentally in reality with us. The second is the IT Red shooter. The nerd who didn't know what Red was until they partnered with Apple and doesn't actually shoot anything. They just take 8K videos of their backyard and marvel at the resolution. The third is the worst of the Red shooters, and that is every trash-ass hypebeast videographer who couldn't tell you what a Cardellini clamp does. In terms of way better cameras that are still horrible to shoot with, the Arri Alexa EV Classic and EV Plus. The Alev 3 sensor is the nicest looking imager on planet Earth for under $5,000. Some purists would still argue it is the nicest looking imager on planet Earth, period, and the Alexa filmography makes a great case for that. Another cool line to look at are the early Sony Cine Alta cameras. The F35, aka Panavision Genesis, saw a lot of use in the late 2000s. It has a cool look as a Super 35 CCD sensor, but it's way overpriced on the used market for a 1080p camera. The SRW 9000 PL uses the same imager, but in a slightly more ergonomic form factor. It's also really overpriced, and we can't go through digital cinema cameras without the digital cinema
I'm no
camera that
expert, but
started
yeah,
it all.
that.
The Sony F.
Look at the size of this thing. That ain't a camera, that's a bazooka. We got a Ghostbuster, chat. You gotta bust some ghosts. Got a bazooka, man. Aim, fire. My man got a bazooka.
F900. In 2000, Lucasfilm collaborated with Sony to bring us the first ever digital camera that could shoot 1080p at 24 frames a second. Not only was it the first, but with the right gamma curve set, it's still a really nice looking camera over 20 years later. And yeah, that's George Lucasfilm. This camera shot the entirety of Star Wars Episode 2, making that the first ever blockbuster to be entirely shot on a digital cinema camera. Given how we make movies today, Episode 2 is the most historically significant Star Wars movie. F900 is only a 2/3 inch sensor, but that unlocks the use of the Zeiss Digiprime lenses. These first came out at like $20,000 per prime lens and were used to shoot a lot of TV shows and feature films. I think they're like a B4 version of the Zeiss Supreme Primes, but because they only cover 2/3 of an inch, these are insanely cheap on eBay compared to what they retailed at. We live in a very interesting time where a camera lens combo that was used on the media you grew up on could be had for only a few $1,000s. That going towards the camera body, the lenses, the HD SDI Miranda converter, the external monitor record it all too, and the nightmare of bumping the SDI cable and ruining your shot. Internal recording's important for a reason.
Man,
But I
that
was
can't
shooting on
happen on
F900 a
set
couple
now.
years ago for a documentary,
It
and
is
I
a
love how it
nightmare.
exposes
It's like, God forbid you accidentally knock your web camera over and then boom, your stream goes off. That, my friends, would be a true nightmare indeed. It would.
all the hypebeast red shooters
Yeah,
who research
definitely,
literally
chat,
nothing.
definitely.
If I'm shooting F900 and you come up to me with your red and call my camera a beast or a tank, I immediately know I'm better than you at everything you do. The mythical 2/3 sensor coveted by the Zeiss Digiprime owners is the Thompson Viper. I've been told it's the greatest 2/3 camera ever made, and I have never seen one on eBay in the years I've known about it. But let's be honest, you could tell this thing would be a pain to work with just by looking at it. Most of these cameras were made with an entire crew in mind operating it, but that was back when mid-level productions actually had money to hire people. These cameras aren't easy to work with.
Dude.
There's newer cameras that technically dwarf them, but the image and legacy carry a vibe of the era from when they were actually
Yeah, looking at that, you could tell it's gonna be difficult. I mean, if I have to carry that thing on my shoulders 24/7, oh, my shoulder's gonna hurt. I mean, I already lift weights and stuff, but that's way too much. Too much for my shoulders. My shoulders hurt just looking at that thing.
popular. Difference between a filmmaker and a kid making videos is realizing you can't take a plugin and recreate an entire pipeline of engineering. Also, telling your client they shot Spider-Man with this is a pretty easy sell. So you've seen a proper workflow, you've seen a Premiere level imager, but when you put them together, you get Tier 1, movie magic. The absolute best digital cinema cameras you can buy that are used on all the digitally shot
Cinema,
movies you see
chat.
at the Oscars. There isn't a whole
Cinema.
lot to get into with these because just about every complaint you heard along the way is addressed and resolved in these cameras, and that's why they're really, really expensive. To start it off, we love to see Red has been addressing their criticism with their newest DSM-C3 generation and no longer use proprietary media. While I haven't shot with one, I haven't seen reports of overheating either. But don't worry, Red shooters are still hype beast idiots. They'll always find a way to not know how to use a C-stand. Sony Venice 2 offers a full-frame 8K imager with 16 stops of advertised dynamic range and features a lovely cinema workflow that manages to cling on to proprietary media. Thanks. And top of the food chain since 1930-something is still Ari, with several of their best, most expensive cameras that cost $10,000 to fix if something breaks. First, the Ari Amira, which took that pristine Alev 3 sensor and put it into a more run-and-gun friendly news camera body. Next is the Alexa 65, Ari's first
Like the
bigger
slides,
than 3K
too.
sensor. It's a 6K, even bigger than full-frame sensor. Then the Alexa Mini and Alexa Mini large format are probably the two most coveted cameras from feature films to commercials to music videos. They take the world's greatest color science and put it into the modular form factor that Canon and Red popularized. Plus some others like Alexa LF and Alexa 35, but I'm tired of talking about cameras you can't afford, so you can Google those. Now you know the full vertical slice of the video cameras out there, some of the features to look for, and many of the flaws you'll run into. But before you go and jump to the camera of your dreams, you need to remember the silver screen looks associated with the Sony F35 or Ari Alexa came down to not only the imaging tech of the era, but also the production design practices that typically surround hyper-expensive cameras. This is where the real skill of a cinematographer comes in. If you don't have an understanding of grip, lighting, optics, composition, and just a general taste for art design, you're gonna take an Ari Alexa Mini and turn into the Redditor making 8K videos of his backyard. Give me a Sony A7S against a beginner's Red Komodo. I'm gonna make a more movie-feeling movie every single time. Dude, give me the F900 with the
That's understandable. I mean, if you know what you're doing, if you've actually taken the class or gone through the proper training, then yeah, you will succeed with good photography skills, with good movie creations, good film creating. But if you are just taking what looks appealing, what looks like heavy duty, you're going to look like an absolute fool. Take the time to study, learn, and once you've done that, you'll be set for film and photography. Make sure you get all the business. Make sure you get all the understandings of how it works, how things come together, how parts work, how photography works. Just like my teacher taught me in college. And thanks to her, I'm able to make some really good videos for my MMA content. So thanks to her, my camera, I'm learning, along with my cousin who also does photography, I'm learning how to record more videos and just constantly upload them. It's really been just a huge grind. But yeah, going back to just make sure you understand the basics of photography, how cameras work, their parts, their functions. Make sure you know the proper price, what you need, where you need to get it from, and what the proper price is to afford them. So that way you have a plan, you know how you're doing things, and there's no hassle.
Primes, if you're not into the craft like that, like most people on video productions, you're gonna get exposed every single time by a camera from the 20th century. Find some movies you like, learn everything about how they shot them, and you too can become an award-winning filmmaker who probably lives with their parents. Thank you for watching another SBN3 educational piece. These have been cited by universities in the past and are always a great crash course to come back to. If it seemed like I know what I'm talking about, look into my one-on-one cinematography workshops for beginner to intermediate filmmakers. Just click that end card on your screen to learn more about it. I'm also one of the few camera tech people who make shorts that don't suck. You can check those out too. What up?
Bro, just calling us out. Just calling us out.
Doomslayer has ripped and torn through hell itself, but there's one horror game monster so insidious, even his incredible power might not be enough to save him. And surprisingly, it's not the one you'd expect. If you think the Doomslayer can take on video game horror's deadliest monsters, you should like this video. If it gets 10,000 likes, I'll make a part 2 based on whoever you comment the Doomslayer should fight next. Subscribe so you don't miss that video. But the most dangerous enemies aren't always the ones that can hurt you physically. Sometimes they're the ones that break your mind. Let's start with something that made even the toughest gamers squirm in their seats. That creepy giant baby from Resident Evil Village.
Oh.
You know, the one in the haunted house that made you consider picking up a new hobby like knitting or bird watching instead of gaming. Yeah, that one. While me and you were busy hiding under our blankets, I was wondering if the Doomslayer would fare any better against this drooling monstrosity. Here's the thing, the baby isn't real. It's a hallucination caused by Donna. I don't even know her last name. Her name's Donna now. Basically, she's got these powers and the weird flowers that make you see scary stuff. It's all in Ethan's head. This immediately creates a problem for our boy Doom Guy because, well, how do you rip and tear apart something that isn't physically there? You can't exactly BFG a bad dream. The Doomslayer's whole deal is facing physical threats. Demons he can shoot, glory kill, and turn into bloody confetti. But hallucinations, that's a different ballgame. Like bringing a chainsaw to a math test. Impressive, but not super helpful, and probably will get you some weird looks. But let's not underestimate the Slayer's mental fortitude. This is a guy who spent literal eons fighting in hell. He's seen things that would make Lovecraft say, whoa, dial it back a bit, bro, we need to chill. The psychological trauma of watching comrades die, fighting endless hordes of demons, and being betrayed multiple times would have broken most people, but not our green armored friend. In fact, the Doomslayer operates almost entirely on rage at this point. And you know what? That might actually be his best defense here. He's so focused on his mission, so consumed by his hatred for demons, that he might just power through any hallucination through sheer stubbornness. Reminds me a lot of myself when I was a teenager. I probably am still stubborn though. Anyways, while you and I would be crying in a corner if we saw that baby, he'd probably just be annoyed that it was slowing him down. Remember in Doom 2016 when Samuel Hayden tries to manipulate him psychologically? Doom Guy's response was to literally smash the screen. This suggests he's not easily manipulated by mind games. So when faced with the baby, he might just recognize it as not demon and ignore it completely. That said, the baby isn't just scary. It's designed to trigger deep fears, represent guilt, and exploit psychological vulnerabilities. The Slayer isn't immune to fear or trauma. His rage stems from loss, after all. If the hallucination targeted those specific traumas, maybe showing his fallen Marine comrades or his pet rabbit Daisy, it might actually get to him. But here's my verdict. While the baby would definitely be more challenging than your average demon, the Doomslayer would ultimately push through. Not because he's fearless, but because his single-minded focus and rage give him a psychological armor almost as strong as his suit. He might have
very much. He's mentally fortified. He fights demons, so he would probably muscle through. It wouldn't be easy, but he would persevere through.
Have a moment of confusion or distress, but then he'd do what he always does. Keep moving forward until the job is done. But while psychological horrors might only slow our Slayer down a little, our next monster brings a different kind of challenge. A
Oh
blue fuzzy
no.
nightmare with arms long enough to hug you from across the room. Behind that plush blue exterior and toothy smile lies a killing machine that's turned an abandoned toy factory into a hunting ground. So you thought a creepy baby was bad? At least it wasn't real. But Huggy Wuggy, this overgrown stuffed animal is 100% physically there, ready to chase you through vents and give you hugs that leave you in pieces. You know, the kind of hug your aunt gives at Christmas, but with much more teeth and depth. Let's talk basics. Huggy stands way taller than a human, has those freakishly long arms that can stretch to grab you, moves surprisingly fast for something so big, and sports rows of sharp teeth that would make a shark jealous. Oh, and he was once human before Playtime Co. did their twisted experiments. Fun. So how would our demons...
Are you kidding me? Doom would dominate this thing. He's fought the Red Barons that are much bigger and stronger than this dude. Huggy Wuggy ain't got nothing on the Doomslayer.
Slayer handled this blue nightmare? Well, first off, I'm pretty sure Doom Guy wouldn't even flinch. You've probably jumped out of your skin playing Poppy Playtime. Admit it, I saw you throw your controller. But the Slayer has literally faced down the icon of sin. So a big blue teddy bear probably ranks somewhere between mild annoyance and Tuesday afternoon on his threat scale. From a pure strength standpoint, this isn't even close. Huggy might be able to overpower normal humans, but Doomslayer can glorify kill Hell Knights with his bare hands. He'd probably rip those long arms right off and beat Huggy to death with them. I mean, this is the guy who punches through solid walls when doors are locked. He doesn't even try to pick the lock. He just says, bam, I'm going in there. What about Huggy's stealth though? You know, those moments when he disappears and pops up behind you? Well, that might work on you, who jumps at shadows and checks over your shoulder every 2 seconds, but Doomslayer has dealt with ambushes from invisible specters and teleporting enemies. His situational awareness is off the charts, and his suit probably has some kind of motion tracking anyways. The one advantage Huggy does have is his environment. The abandoned Playtime Co. factory, with its tight spaces, vents, and elaborate chase sequences, is designed to give Huggy the home field advantage. But let's be real, Doomslayer has fought through hell itself, UAC facilities, alien worlds, and ancient temples. A creepy toy factory isn't exactly going to throw him off his game. Even that famous vent chase scene that had everyone hyperventilating into a paper bag, Doom Guy would probably just blast through the wall instead, cutting Huggy off and turning the predator into prey. Or he'd just stand his ground and wait for Huggy to come to him. Why run when you can rip and tear something apart? The funniest part is that Huggy might actually try to retreat once he realizes how incredibly he is. Imagine the look on his dumb looking smiling face when the Doom player pulls out a super shotgun with the meat hook. One grapple, one blast, and it's monster stuffing everywhere. In chapter 1 of Poppy Playtime, Huggy Wuggy is defeated by releasing a heavy crate that crushes him, sending him falling into the abyss. Now imagine what someone with the Doomslayer's arsenal and experience could do. The BFG alone would probably turn Huggy into blue cotton candy. So my verdict, Huggy Wuggy
no,
might
it
be
wouldn't turn
nightmare
into blue cotton candy. There'd be none left. It would completely vaporize him. He would be completely vaporized. You gotta keep in mind the BFG is a super nuclear plasma weapon that one-shots and multi-kills targets at once. The giant orb sends out tentacles that kill multiple targets, while the main orb destroys its main target. It is literally a full army killing weapon. Like, Huggy Wuggy would just be straight up nothing, would be ashes, disintegrated, no more, kaput.
Fuel for us regular folks clutching our controllers with sweaty hands. But for the Doomslayer, this would be a very brief and one-sided encounter. The real challenge wouldn't be defeating Huggy. It would be finding all the toy pieces to solve those annoying puzzles without losing his patience and just blasting through the walls altogether. But tall blue monsters are just the appetizer, because our next challenger stands even taller, drinks blood instead of spilling it, and treats her castle like a very exclusive restaurant where humans are always on the menu. Standing nearly 10 feet tall with retractable claws and a taste for blood, Lady Demistrio, or Lady D, might be the closest thing to a demon the Doomslayer has ever faced outside of hell itself. Alright, let's talk about everyone's favorite tall vampire lady, aka Mommy. Sorry. You know, the one that had half the internet acting, well, let's just say strangely, when Resident Evil...
Nah, y'all act like a bunch of goofs when she came. Everybody's sitting for Lady Dimitrescu. But what about my man Heisenberg? Y'all were such simps, calling her mommy. A bunch of simps is what you are. Like, no, Doom would definitely beat Lady Dimitrescu. I mean, look, the Doomslayer would win. It's 100%. He's gonna win. Like, do the math.
Dropped. Don't pretend you don't know what I'm talking about. I saw all the memes you liked. I know your search history. I've seen it.
No,
I'm calling
you
the
don't.
police on you.
You don't know my search history. I'm clean as a fiddle. Clean as a whistle. Hey, diddle diddle.
Lady D is basically what happens when you combine rich person charm, maternal rage, and a serious growth spurt. At 9 feet and 6 inches tall, she's only 6 inches taller than me, and she towers over normal humans like they're action figures. Step on me. And those aren't acrylic nails she's sporting. Those are razor sharp claws that can slice through flesh like it's warm butter. Add in her need to drink human blood to maintain her powers, and she's practically a demon in a fancy dress. But would her height advantage matter against the Doomslayer? Probably not. This is a guy who regularly takes down Baron of Hells and cyber demons that make Lady D look like a middle schooler at a basketball tryout. Size hasn't stopped him before, and it wouldn't stop him now. What about her regeneration? Lady D can heal from gunshot wounds almost instantly, which is why Ethan's bullets only annoy her. But
no, his weapons, no. If bullets don't work, then plasma weapons will. And if plasma weapons don't work, then the chainsaw will. Now, if the chainsaw don't work, rip and tear off the crucible. That will do it. The crucible will definitely end it. That or the sentinel hammer. I mean, take your pick. The Crucible or the Sentinel. Take your pick, chat.
again, Doomslayer deals with regenerating enemies all the time. Remember those pesky Hell Knights that keep getting back up? The difference is that Lady D has a specific weakness: the dagger of Death's Flowers. This is where things get interesting. The Slayer doesn't have this special dagger, but he does have something potentially better: the Crucible. This energy sword can permanently kill immortal demons, so there's a good chance it would work on Lady D too. One slice might bypass her regeneration entirely.
But what about when she transforms into the giant dragon lady?
I hear you asking in a slightly panicked voice. Fair question, dude, but hold your questions to the back. This is my YouTube video. You just sit down and watch. Once Lady D goes full monster mode, she's basically a flying tank with multiple attacks. But again, the Doomslayer has faced flying enemies before. The dragon form might actually make her a bigger target for the BFG. One well-placed shot, and those castle walls would need a fresh coat of paint, as well as new stone, because they would be exploded. Let's not forget the Slayer's mobility either. With double jumps, dashes, and the meat hook on his super shotgun, he could easily navigate around her attacks, maybe even grapple onto her to deliver some close range damage. While you'd be running for your life, screaming about how the tall lady is now a dragon, like this. Tall lady's a dragon! Doom Guy would probably be figuring out the most efficient way to turn her into experience points. The daughters might complicate things a bit. You know, those swarms of insects could be annoying, but nothing a well-timed flame belch couldn't handle. After all, if Ethan can take them out by breaking a window and letting in cold air, imagine what the Slayer could do with his entire arsenal. Funniest part would be Lady D's reaction. She's used to intimidating her victims, stalking them through her castle while they cower in fear. But when she meets someone who immediately goes on the offensive instead, someone who doesn't run or hide but charges straight at her with a chainsaw, that would—
Please, someone needs to make that an animation. Please. Septernal, please make that into an animation. Please. Like, we need to see the Doomslayer versus Lady Dimitrescu. Please, Septernal, please make that into a video.
definitely ruin her whole elegant predator vibe. So while Lady D is certainly more of a challenge than Huggy Wuggy, the Doomslayer would likely turn this boss fight into a speed run. Her height, generation, transformation would make for an interesting battle, but in the end, she'd join the long list of tall monsters who underestimated the guy in the green armor. Speaking of monsters that underestimated their prey, our next contender brings something even deadlier than claws or teeth: a fungal infection that could turn anyone, even a demigod, into something unrecognizable. Now we're getting to the good stuff. Bloaters from The Last of Us. These aren't your garden variety zombies that you can just outrun while tying your shoes. These are walking fungal nightmares that have been infected for decades, with bodies covered in thick, hardened plates that can stop bullets better than whatever armor you're wearing in your airsoft games. Let's break down what makes these mushroom monsters so deadly. First, they're ridiculously strong. We're talking rip your jaw off with one hand strong. They can punch through doors, toss full-grown adults like ragdolls, and if they grab you, game over, buddy. No quick time event is saving you from that death animation. Then there's their armor. Years of fungal growth has created natural body armor that can shrug off pistol rounds like they're spitballs. Even shotguns struggle to put these things down unless you're aiming at their weak spots. And just when you think you're safe at a distance, they start ripping chunks of their own bodies off to throw spore bombs at you. Toxic fungal grenades that release clouds of caustic spores. Talk about biological warfare. So the real question is, could they infect the Doomslayer? This is where things get interesting. The cordyceps infection spreads through spores and bites. The Slayer's suit likely has filtration systems that would protect against airborne spores. I mean, he walks through toxic environments all the time.
But what about
if
his
a
muscles?
bloater managed to break through his armor and get a bite in? Well, here's where the Doomslayer has a major advantage. He's not exactly normal human. After his enhancement in the divinity machine, he gained the ability to absorb strength from his fallen enemies. His body might just treat the cordyceps fungus as another demon to consume and grow stronger from. The fungus tries to infect him, and his body just says thanks to the power boost, sucker. Even if the infection could take hold, the Slayer's regenerative abilities would likely fight it off. This is a guy who can heal from demon attacks by literally ripping other demons apart. A mushroom really doesn't stand.
So basically, he has a healing factor. Since he was given the power of the angels, or the power of the seraphim, he basically has a healing factor that can fight off the infection. That's incredible. I've always wondered, how does the Doomslayer, how would he survive infection? Does he have the type of regenerative healing factor?
Much of a chance. As for the actual fight, bloaters have one massive weakness that plays right into the Doomslayer's hands: fire. They're extremely vulnerable to flames, and guess what? The Slayer has access to the flame belch and potentially explosive weapons that could set them ablaze. One blast from that, followed by a few well-placed super shotgun rounds to their exposed parts, and these fungal tanks would be reduced to barbecued mushrooms. Their slow movement would be their undoing too. While they're intimidating in the tight corridors of The Last of Us, forcing Joel or Ellie to carefully sneak around them, the Doomslayer doesn't do sneaking. With his dash abilities, double jumps, and grappling hooks, he'd run circles around these lumbering spore factories, turning what's supposed to be a tense horror encounter into a glorified shooting gallery. The spore bombs might be annoying, but the Slayers fought through worse area denial attacks from demons. He'd likely just dash out of the affected area or push through it with minimal damage. So while bloaters are an apex predator in their world, capable of making even the toughest survivors think twice, the Doomslayer, they'd just be another Tuesday. Thick armor, he's got armor-piercing weapons. Strength, he's stronger. Infection, his superhuman physiology says no thanks. These fungal tanks wouldn't stand a chance against hell's worst nightmare. But if you thought fungal monsters were terrifying, wait till you meet a creature so fast you can't see it move. The curse that transforms its victims from the inside out through one simple, desperate act. The Wendigo, the monster that made you too afraid to ever go hiking again. Don't lie, I know you've been turning down camping trips ever since playing Until Dawn.
Sorry, I'm busy that way.
Go camping. Camping's fun. These cursed creatures from the Blackwood Mountains are actually humans who've been possessed by ancient spirits after committing the ultimate survival taboo: capitalism. Oh, wait, sorry. Cannibalism, not capitalism, but it's kind of the same thing. One desperate meal of long pig and boom, you're turning into a pale, emaciated nightmare with the munchies for more human flesh. What makes Wendigos truly terrifying is their speed. We're talking blink and you miss it fast. They can crawl across walls and ceilings, jump incredible distances, and close the gap between you and them before you can say don't move. Speaking of which, their vision is completely based on movement. Stand perfectly still and you're basically invisible to them, which is why Until Dawn has all those nerve-wracking don't move sequences where you're sweating bullets just trying to keep the controller steady. So how would the Doomslayer fare against these supernatural speedsters? Well, his reflexes are pretty insane. This is a guy who can dodge demon fireballs, revenant missiles, and cyber demon attacks. He's incredibly fast himself, especially with dash abilities in Doom Eternal. If anyone could track and react to Wendigo movements, it's probably him. The interesting part is the Wendigo's movement-based vision versus Doomslayer's aggressive combat style. The Slayer isn't exactly known for standing still after all. His whole combat loop is built around constant movement. That makes him the perfect target for Wendigos who would see him clear as day. It's like putting a neon sign on yourself that says all you can eat Demon Slayer buffet. But would the Wendigo's physical attributes be enough to take him down? They're strong enough to decapitate humans with their bare hands, can shrug off conventional bullets. But compared to Hell Knights or Barons, they're basically skinny teenagers with an attitude problem. The Doomslayer regularly glory kills monsters several times his size. The voice mimicry ability could be tricky though. The Wendigos can perfectly imitate human voices to lure victims into traps. But who would they mimic to trick the Slayer? He's not exactly rushing to save anyone. Unless they've somehow mimicked his pet rabbit Daisy, which yes, I've checked, that's canon, he'd probably just ignore the bait entirely. Now, for the most interesting question, could the Doomslayer become a Wendigo? The curse requires eating human flesh while starving on the mountain. Given that the Slayer survived literal eons in hell without resorting resorting to cannibalism, it seems unlikely he'd suddenly develop a taste for human tartare if stuck on Blackwood Mountain for a few days. The Wendigos do have one glaring weakness that plays right into the Slayer's hands: fire. Just like our last entry, they're extremely
And exactly, and plus the Doomslayer is self-sustained. He's literally immortal, so he doesn't have any need to eat or sleep or drink. He's immortal, so he has no need for any food or drink or to sleep. He's a literal demigod.
vulnerable to flames, which is why flamethrowers are the weapon of choice in Until Dawn. And what does the Doomslayer
Until
have?
Dawn,
The
not
flame
until.
belch, incendiary weapons,
Well,
and probably a
until-
few
until-
spare gas
whatever.
cans he could fashion into Molotov cocktails if needed. So while a pack of Wendigos might give the Slayer a decent workout, they'd ultimately join his long list of conquests. Their speed would challenge him, but once he figured out their movement-based vision, he could potentially use it against them. And at the first sign of trouble, he'd break out the firepower, literally, and turn these cursed cannibals into extra crispy Wendigo dino nuggets. While supernatural mountain spirits might pose an interesting challenge, our next monster brings a different kind of horror, one that turns the human body itself into both factory and weapon. Deep within an underground complex lurks a nightmare of flesh and bone that never stops producing more monsters, transforming every encounter into a war of attrition that tests even the most hardened soldiers. If you've ever played GTFO, you'd probably still wake up in cold
get the
sweats
crap
thinking
out.
about the Big Mother. For those of you who haven't, first off, lucky you. And second, imagine if someone combined the worst parts of pregnancy with the worst parts of a zombie apocalypse and then cranked the difficulty to why the f is this happening? The Big Mother is basically a walking birth factory. While you're busy trying not to die in the dark, she's popping out baby monsters faster than a clown car unloading at a circus on fire. And not cute babies either.
Yeah.
We're talking rapidly growing killing machines that immediately join the fight. It's like fighting one enemy that's actually an unlimited number of enemies. Fun, right? What makes Big Mother extra annoying is that she's completely immune to frontal damage. You can empty your entire ammo reserve into her face
And
and
does
she'll just
nothing.
stand there probably thinking about what a disappointment you are to her, just like your own mother. The only way to hurt her is to shoot the gross tumor things on her back. You know, the part you can't see when she's facing you, which is most of the time because she's not stupid. And do you get too close trying to flank her? She releases a thick fog that blocks your vision and makes aiming nearly impossible. Then she backs away while you're blinded, repositioning herself to continue her endless baby
Clever
shower
girl.
from hell. In GTFO, most players need perfect coordination, special weapons, and lots of C-phone to take her down without getting overwhelmed. We're not talking about regular players here. We're talking about the Doomslayer, and this
Oh,
matchup might
yeah.
actually be fascinating. The Big Mother's main strength is creating hordes of enemies to overwhelm you, but overwhelming the Doomslayer with numbers,
That's not gonna
literally
work.
Tuesday afternoon for him. This is a guy who thrives when surrounded. More enemies just means more glory kills, which means more health and ammo. The Big Mother spawning babies might actually be doing him a favor, creating a buffet of new resources to get. What about her damage immunity from the front though? Well, the Slayer is significantly more mobile than your average GTFO prisoner, with dash abilities, double jumps, and possibly the meat
Take
hook from
notes,
his super
chat.
shotgun.
Take notes.
Getting behind her wouldn't be the challenge it is for normal players. One quick dash around and he'd have a clear shot at those back tumors. Her fog defense? Again,
Yeah,
the
you have a
Slayer's
clear
suit has
shot
enhanced
at
vision
the
modes
back.
that could partially counter this. Even if it didn't,
Nope.
his
Pause
combat
on that.
instincts and experience fighting in hell's worst environments would give him an edge in
You're giving
navigating
those
through
literal
limited
back
visibility.
shots.
The C-foam that
Pause.
GTFO players rely on to temporarily freeze her isn't something the Slayer typically carries, but he doesn't really need it. His arsenal includes weapons powerful enough to cause massive damage in a single hit. The Ballista, or BFG, could potentially one-shot those back tumors if aimed precisely. The one interesting challenge here is the Big Mother requires a tactical approach, something the Slayer can do, but it's not his preferred method. He'd need to target a specific weak point rather than just going in guns blazing. But given that he regularly exploits weak points on demons like Mancubus's arm cannons or Revenant jetpacks, this wouldn't exactly be new territory for him. In the end, what's a nightmare scenario for GTFO players, being trapped in a room with a Big Mother and her endless children, would probably be the Demon Slayer's idea of a light warm-up. The babies would fuel his glory kill system, the flog would be a minor inconvenience, and once you got a clear shot at that back, it would be game over for Mama. But as threatening as a monster that birthed endless children might be, just like that one couple that
Okay,
you went
what
to high
else is
school
more
with, our
work?
next horror takes us from the depths of an underground complex to the depths of cosmic terror, where even looking at your enemy might cost you your sanity. Let's wade into the deep end now. Literally, if Dagon from Call of Cthulhu doesn't make you afraid of the ocean, nothing will. This isn't your cute little Ariel's dad from The Little Mermaid. We're talking about an ancient, massive fish god worshipped by creepy fish people who think humans look better with gills. Yeah, Dagon is what happens when you take "there's always a bigger fish" to its cosmic extreme. He's enormous, rising from the ocean depths like a skyscraper with fins, powerful enough to shake massive ships and potentially drive people insane just by looking at him. In dark corners of the earth, the protagonist Jack Walters has to use a naval cannon just to hurt this thing. A regular gun might as well be a water pistol. But here's where things get interesting for our green armored friend. The Doomslayer isn't just some detective with a pistol and a sanity meter that drops faster than your phone battery. He's got experience with massive cosmic entities. He literally fought the icon of
Doomslayer
sin,
can
which
handle
grows
this.
stronger the longer it remains
Do we
on
even need to
Earth.
say
Let's not forget his
anything?
battles with the Dark Lord, who is essentially the creator of his universe. So the sanity draining effects that make Lovecraftian horrors so terrifying, yeah, they might not work so well on someone whose entire personality is "I'm too pissed off to die." The Doomslayer operates almost entirely on rage at this point. His brain is basically running Doom.exe and nothing else. When faced with incomprehensible cosmic horror, he doesn't waste time questioning his reality or having existential crises.
He just goes in
identifies
for
the
it.
biggest thing in the room and figures out how to kill it. That said, Dagon does present some unique challenges. For one, the fight in dark corners of the earth takes place at sea, with Dagon attacking a ship. The Slayer isn't typically fighting in water, and his mobility might be limited compared to his usual demon slaying grounds. No convenient platforms to jump between or walls to climb here. Then there's the question of firepower. Jack Walters needed a naval cannon to harm Dagon. Does the Doomslayer pack enough punch? Well, the BFG 9000 can tear through multiple high-tier demons with one shot. The Crucible Blade can permanently kill immortal demons, and if we're talking Doom Eternal, the Unmaker weapon might actually be perfect here. It was specifically designed to kill godlike beings. The cultists of Innsmouth who worship Dagon would just be speed bumps for the Slayer. Yeah, those fish-faced deep ones that terrified you while playing, they'd be glory kill fodder, probably worth a small health pickup each. The real challenge would be Dagon himself, emerging from the depths for what he
big
thinks
daddy
is an
of the
easy
ocean
ship
coming
sinking,
out.
only to find himself facing the guy who kills gods for breakfast. Would it be an easy fight? No. The naval environment, Dagon's massive size, and his connection to cosmic forces beyond our dimension would make this a genuine challenge. The Slayer might need to get creative, maybe grappling onto Dagon with the meat hook, climbing up to more vulnerable areas, or finding some equivalent to the naval cannon that worked in the game. But if there's one thing the Doomslayer has proven time and time and again, it's that nothing is truly unkillable. Not demons, not gods, not creators. A fish deity, even one from beyond the stars that drives men mad, would eventually join his trophy collection. After all, this is the guy who went to hell, decided it wasn't tough enough, and came back for seconds. But even ancient fish gods pale in comparison to our final challenger, a parasitic hive mind that doesn't just kill its victims, but transforms them into weapons against everything they once protected. They don't just kill you, they absorb your knowledge, transform your body, and use everything that made you who you are against everyone you ever loved. So we've covered 7 pretty scary monsters, but the Flood, they're basically a whole different ballgame. While you've been sitting there thinking the Doomslayer would totally wreck these guys, we might have finally found his match. This isn't just another monster to shoot, it's an entire apocalypse with tentacles. For those of you who haven't played Halo, seriously, what rock have you been living under? The Flood is a parasitic life form that spreads faster than those chain emails your grandma keeps forwarding. One tiny spore is all it takes to start an infection that could consume an entire planet. They don't just kill their victims either. They hijack their bodies, memories, skills, and knowledge, and turn them into twisted combat forms that know exactly how to use weapons and vehicles. So that soldier that was on your side 5 minutes ago, now he's Flood, still remembers how to shoot and is bringing friends. That tank driver, Tank is now driving for Team Flood. Even super smart AIs aren't safe, thanks to something called the Logic Plague, which is basically the Flood's way of saying your computer has viruses, but way worse. So how would the Doomslayer fare against this cosmic parasite? Let's start with infection risk. The Flood spreads through spores or direct contact with infection forms, which are those little popcorn looking things that jump on you. The Doomslayer's suit probably offers good protection, but it's not completely sealed. One breach and those spores could get in. But here's where it gets interesting. The Slayer isn't exactly a normal human anymore. After being empowered by the divinity machine, he's become something more. He can absorb strength from demons he kills. His body might actually reject or even consume flood infection, just like it did with The Last of Us, turning it into more power. It's like trying to infect someone who's already infected with something stronger. Even if the flood could grab hold, would they get much benefit? The Doomslayer's entire skill set is rip and tear until it is done. A flood-infected Doomslayer would probably still just rip and tear things, except now he'd be doing it to humans instead of demons, so it's not really much of an upgrade for the flood's purposes. The bigger problem would be scale. The flood isn't just one monster, it's potentially billions. They overrun the Forerunners, an ancient civilization so advanced they built galaxy-sized structures as hobbies. Their only solution was the Halo Array, a weapon designed to kill all sentient life in the galaxy just to starve the flood.
So
That's like burning down your house because you can't deal with the cockroach problem. The Doomslayer is incredible one-on-one or even one against an army, but the flood isn't an army, it's a plague. For every combat form he glory kills, 10 more would take its place, and unlike demons, who conveniently disappear when killed, flood bodies stay around to be reinfected unless completely destroyed. What about his weapons? The good news is that the flood is vulnerable to extreme heat, and the Slayer's access to the flame belch and potentially incendiary ammunition. The BFG might also work well against concentrated flood biomass, so he's not without options. The real deciding factor might be timing. If the Slayer encounters the flood in its early stages, before a Gravemind forms, he could potentially contain the outbreak. His experience fighting hordes, his arsenal, and his sheer determination would make him an excellent first responder to a flood situation. But if he arrives late with a fully formed Gravemind directing billions of combat forms across multiple planets, even the Doomslayer has limits. He might survive longer than anyone else, cutting a bloody swath through endless waves of flood, but eventually numbers would tell, or worse, he'd be forced to trigger something like the Halo Array himself, accepting that some threats can't be glory killed into submission. So after facing down all these nightmares, from creepy babies to cosmic fish gods, we finally found one horror that might actually be too much even for hell's worst nightmare. Not because it's stronger or scarier, but because sometimes even the mightiest hero can't punch his way out of a pandemic. If you enjoyed watching this video, I encourage you to like it and subscribe to the channel for more videos just like this. So the flood would be a
challenge for the Doomslayer. That's a lot to take in. That had me just sit down and think for a minute in silence, because so the flood would actually be a challenge for the Doomslayer. I mean, on one end, you're not wrong. I mean, okay, as much as you want to glaze the Doomslayer, he can't fight everything. There's some things the Doomslayer just can't beat. I mean, that's like saying Goku could beat him. I mean, glazing has its limits. Eventually you meet someone who the Doomslayer just can't beat. I mean, not that that makes him a terrible character now. I mean, let's be honest. It's not that the Doomslayer is weak. He's still pretty powerful. That's something to think about.
The Doomslayer. Okay, listen, if you've been watching my videos for a minute, you know I am a huge fan of Doom lore, okay? And I got a Doom lore video coming out within the next couple of weeks to celebrate the release of the new Doom The Dark Ages. A review should be coming out within the next couple of days. I was able to get review access for the game. I literally cannot tell you even my impressions of it, so who knows? I mean, I do, but I can't tell you yet. But, yeah, so that's going to be coming up within the next couple of days, and then we'll do a Doom lore within, like, the next week. And I thought, until then, a little bonus Thursday video, and the Thursday videos are just going to be like my little stuff that didn't earn a full video, so this will be probably shorter than the average one unless I really get off tangent and start ranting. I just want to showcase to you how nutty Doom lore is. I really do, without getting into it, because people, even in the big old 2025, are actually trying to argue Master Chief versus Doomslayer. And listen, all I'm going to say is that the tougher argument, and you'll understand by the ending of this video, would be Goku right now versus Doomslayer at the end of Doom Eternal. Okay, yes, I think that is closer than Master Chief versus Doomslayer. I don't want to crass out too early, okay? And there will be a crass out warning throughout the video. But, yeah. This is going to be a little Ethan rant session where we go over characters in fiction, everybody from Master Chief from the Halo franchise, the Boiled One from the Boiled One phenomenon, Cthulhu from H.P. Lovecraft, and then we got, you know, people like Kratos. Yeah, bro, that's how crazy this video is, that Kratos is just Oh yeah, Kratos too. And that's what we're going to be doing in this video, okay? If this sounds good to you and you want more videos like this, more Thursday content, please sort of like, comment, and subscribe.
Yeah,
I
this
don't
is
really
gonna
have a
be
goal for
good.
this video. This might be, I don't know if this is going to be a one-off. You know what? 3,000 likes. Do that. That's how low my expectations are. Average numbers. 3,000 likes. Hit me with that. And top comment will be the video suggested. Because I know what's going to happen. I don't want to say it. That'll be the video suggestion. And with all that out of the way, let's get into the would they beat the Doomslayer tier list, or this versus battle. Let's go. Master Chief, brother, no.
Yeah, no.
Wait, no. I'm sorry,
No.
brother. It's Master Chief. And listen, that's how powerful Doomslayer is.
I agree. No, Master Chief would not win against the Doomslayer. If you think the Doomslayer would lose to a soldier, that's like a soldier versus a senior war hero. He's like a junior soldier versus a senior war hero. You're not gonna win. You might as well pack your luggage, and pack on out of here. Like, dude, you not gonna win.
That we're actually have to say, oh yeah, bro, but he's just Master Chief. Okay, to illustrate how nutty Doom lore is, and it's gonna get crazier and crazier of how I've set this up. Okay, when we're looking at what would be competitive, you can argue a normal Doom guy with zero cybernetic, zero genetic mutations or enhancements would probably be Master Chief. Why? Because understand this, okay? Master Chief has the power of Mjolnir armor. Doom guy has the power of fucking plot armor, okay? This man was able to take on a one-man legion of hell. Not once, not twice, not 3 times, but 4 fucking times.
Mm-hmm.
And this is before Doom 2016. All of this occurred before Doom 2016, bro. Doom 2016 is like the start of the new gen. Okay, when Doom guy put up so many bodies that they just were like, bro, that's the Doomslayer, bro. That's the demon's Antichrist right there. Yes, that is canonically what Doomslayer is. The Antichrist of demons, which is insanely hard, okay? And I get it, bro. Master Chief...
He's like the Antichrist of the Antichrist. Like the anti... He's like the anti against the anti. Like, the Doomslayer's just... The Doomslayer is an entity that you don't want to trifle with. Okay? He's just someone you don't want to trifle with. It's just plain and simple.
Was nicknamed the Demon by the Covenant, okay? I'm sorry. Doomslayer is the slayer of them demons, okay? That is what we are dealing with right now. If this battle were to happen, there is quite literally nothing Master Chief can do. Master Chief would be the equivalent of a fodder-level enemy in the verse. I think Master Chief would probably be able to take on, like, a Mancubus, a Baron of Hell. He might be able to take on a Cyber Demon once or twice. But, like, other than that, bro, he's getting bodied in the initial invasion of Hell. I'm gonna be real. Master Chief probably isn't making it off Mars. He is, yeah, he's just not. I'm sorry. There's levels to this game. Master Chief would be fodder. What weapon does he have? Okay, unless you're activating the Halo rings, however, you can also make the argument that Doomslayer might, on a technicality, be able to get out of that. But other than that, he's fodder in this universe, bro. Cthulhu. Yes, Cthulhu. The Cthulhu from H.P. Lovecraft, okay? And let me just say this right now. This is not a spoiler for the game. This was stuff that Bethesda and id Software already revealed before the game came out. Yes, Doomslayer is going to be fighting Cthulhu.
Oh, yeah, we already saw that.
And I'm just going to say it right now. This is, again, not a spoiler. This is stuff that Bethesda has stated. I gotta preface that. Doom the Dark Ages is a prequel to Doom 2016 and a prequel to Doom Eternal. Okay? So, what that means is that the Doomslayer had to have slayed Cthulhu. Now, if you want to make the argument over some of the outer gods of the H.P. Lovecraft universe, and I think their names like Azazathoth or unknown names, okay? Stuff like that, where the entirety of the universe is nothing but a lucid dream of one of these outer gods, and all of creation is an illusion created by this, including free will, then in that case, maybe on a technicality he would win because Doom Guy wouldn't be able to do anything. When we're talking about Cthulhu, I'm sorry, bro. In the original Call of Cthulhu story, a fucking steamboat was able to thwart the power of Cthulhu. Cthulhu was this close in the crossing in the R domain. Okay? This close. A steamboat was able to keep him from doing that. I'm sorry, bro. You're barely steamboat level. I'm only just kidding. Of course, if Cthulhu gets full power, then he is a different type of deity. But then it's also like, what's he gonna do to the Doomslayer, though? Like, what's he gonna do? Like, now we can get kind of nutty with it. Canonically speaking, the Doomslayer is more powerful than literally everything that he fights, but he's only more powerful this amount. This amount. Why? He likes the idea. Brother, he doesn't even have to use weapons. It's purely because he finds it enjoyable. Purely because he thinks it's funny, he will use weapons. He's nostalgic for weapons.
He doesn't have to use weapons. He just chooses to because he enjoys it. Weapons are just an option. If he wanted to go all out, he would use his bare fist. Excuse me. He would literally use his bare fist to fight Cthulhu. I mean, seriously, he would beat the absolute ape crap out of Cthulhu. Like, he would turn this dude into primordial sushi.
Weaponry, bro. That is why he uses them. Oh, you want to get real nutty? The soundtrack of Doom, at least in Doom Eternal, probably like the other newer Doom games, canonically speaking, is a soundtrack going on in his own head because hobbies include collecting collectibles, petting bunnies, smashing some chick in Animal Crossing. Yes, that's apparently canon. I'll cover that. Okay. And number 4, absolutely shredding on guitars.
You talking about Isabelle from Animal Crossing. Okay, everybody's been shipping Annabelle and Doomslayer. Everyone's been shipping that so much lately. I think it's cute though. If they were like in a relationship, if they were dating, I think it's cute. It's adorable. Bruh, I don't want to hear y'all calling the Doomslayer a furry. What if he is a furry? Let the man be. If the Doomslayer is a furry, let him be a furry. I mean, I don't care. He's the Doomslayer. Why does he care what y'all think? I mean, after saving the world from hell like multiple times for centuries, if my man wants to be a furry, I say he been deserved it. I ain't gonna judge, shoot. If I'm the one killing demons for centuries, I'd become a furry too. I ain't gonna lie. Shoot. I mean, okay, I don't want to hear it. Y'all talking about, oh, you're being sus. Oh, please. If you were in the Doomslayer's shoes, you'd do the exact same. Don't try to play a saint, chat.
The Doom soundtrack is performed by Doomslayer in his head, okay? That's how insane he is. So when we're looking at Cthulhu, yeah, bro, I think Doom Guy would struggle for a second, and then he's just winning via plot. Dude, it's not that the Doomslayer is well written, okay? No. Doomslayer is just metal for the sake of being metal. Now, I am gonna say this. Cthulhu is actually going in high diff. Why? Because if we're going through if Cthulhu existed and battled the Doomslayer, I think there would be a full plot point of Doomslayer finding a weapon to slay Cthulhu. I think he would have to fall back, get something, and then take him out. I think there would be a quick boop, boop, and then he'd be ready to go. Other than that, bro, he absolutely bodies Cthulhu. Cooks Cthulhu even, bro. The Boiled One from the Boiled One phenomenon. Brother, let's say, best case scenario, it's a literal fallen Archangel, Archangel Gabriel, fallen from the heavens, okay? And he's facing the Doomslayer.
You're cooked.
Brother, he is absolutely walking him down and turning him into a rug. I'm sorry, bro, if you, like... The Boiled One is scary, and the amount of videos that I've seen of Doomslayer versus Analog Horrors, I'm just gonna look you in the eye and I'm gonna say, brother, Doomslayer's a multiversal entity, okay? The longer we go on, the crazier I can go. He's
true.
Like more fun facts.
No, that's true. He is a multiversal. He's a multiversal traveling dimensional entity. He has traveled between heaven, earth, and hell on continuous, like a field day, like a field trip. He's traveled to all three realms. Earth, heaven, and hell. He's traveled through the realms like it's a field trip for him. Like, you're not gonna beat him. Boiled One, you about to become the Boiled One. Boiled like stew. He's gonna turn you into a boiled pot of stew. Like, I'm literally shaking my hands as I explain this. You're gonna get cooked. Cooked. Cooked like a... Well, I won't say that. I ain't gonna trigger the Doom fans, but you gonna be cooked like a possum, like a squirrel. You're gonna get cooked like some lamb chops, stirred up like curry, and you're gonna be a wonderful meal for the Doomslayer to enjoy, as he has your skull mounted on the wall. He will have your skull mounted on the wall as he's enjoying a fine dinner from you being the sponsorship of it.
Okay. Devoth, okay, the god of the multiverse of Doom, okay, and like brief side tangent, okay. The original Hell Dimension was the original like Garden of Eden in this verse, and Devoth created his first creations, which turned out to be the demons. But the demons got slowly corrupted by the hatred of Devoth, and he created them, but they were flawed creatures because they didn't have immortality. So he created the firstborn, the first one being Vega. These are all technically spoilers, okay? And he tasked Vega to create infinite life so he can endow his creations with that. And then Vega was allowed to create the Makers, and the Makers were in charge of, guess what? Making a way to make things have infinite life. And that's where the Makers come from, and then you have the Makers, you have Devoth, which became the Devil, okay? And guess what? This is where it gets crazy, okay? Doomslayer is made in the image of God. And I don't mean like man is. No, I literally mean an identical twin to Devoth. Okay? God. So God took a form in the Doom universe, and it was Doomslayer. Because even God looked at Doomslayer and said, bro, he looks good. And that's Devoth in the verse, okay? So, to put that again...
So he literally made Doomslayer out of his own image. Like the god of his multiverse made him out of his image. That's crazy right there. Like, you were literally made from your own god's image.
Into perspective, okay? There is Vega the Firstborn who betrayed Devoth and sentenced him to basically rule over hell and corrupted it and turned it into... Yeah. All that happened, right? Okay, then you have Vega, who is essentially the god of this universe. Multiverse, sorry. And then you have Doomslayer, and both of them are actively trying to get Doomslayer on their side. Not because they need Doomslayer to beat the other, they just don't want Doomslayer to beat their ass. I'm sorry, bro. Inconvenience at best. Inconvenience at best, bro. What is he actually going to do? What is he going to do?
Yeah, that's a good question. What is he going to do?
Bro. Kratos. I think he would do well. I think he did. Here's the problem with Kratos, bro. Okay? The technicalities of his power is one of the dumbest parts of it. Like, no, you can... Oh, and I know I'm going to see this. Well, Doomslayer was able to get slayed by an imp. So every single time he loses in games, that is a testament to his feats. No, it's not. I'm sorry, bro. Doomslayer... none of those are canon. Like, no, Doomslayer dying in an animation is so unrealistic according to the lore of the game that every single time Doomslayer loses to a demon, don't even remotely consider it. They can't. They can't. Impossible. Like, he doesn't need armor. He is durable. He is effectively immortal in every sense of the word. Okay? And he became immortal because after Doom, I think it was Doom 1, Doom 2, Doom 64, Doom 3, and basically single-handedly fighting the demons of hell for multiple eons at a time as a mortal, by the way. Okay? He eventually gets picked up by a group of people called the Night Sentinels, okay? And the Night Sentinels take him in, and a character called the Seraphim, yes, the Seraphim from... Nah, not the Bible, but it's meant to be symbolic.
Kind of.
Take him in and put him in the divinity machine because of how mighty he was, because Vega knew of him and caused all that to happen, right? So, we took the most powerful man in the multiverse. Sorry for the weird cut there. My dogs apparently saw a demon outside. I'm just kidding. It was a groundhog. His name is Randy. I'm not getting you caught up on the lore right now. Let's get back into it. Okay, where was I with Kratos? Okay, here's the thing. Kratos would be competitive with the Doomslayer up
Yes.
to a point, okay? Because you can't beat him. The way that they were able to beat the Doomslayer is, first off, so unclear that we kind of have to fill in some pieces. Well, this is what we know. We know the Doomslayer was sealed inside of a sarcophagus where he was later retrieved by the Seraphim, Samuel Hayden. Turned out to be the Seraphim that was in this universe, okay? Grabbed him, dragged him to Mars, resurrected him as basically a last-ditch effort to kill the demons, okay? And then, after he defeats the Voth, the god of the multiverse, essentially, he goes back to bed because he slayed the strongest being inside of his multiverse, okay? So, what that tells me is the Doom guy had to have beaten the most powerful being at that point, and then they sealed him away. They had to drop a mountain on him, and I do know, it's meant to be a reference to Sun Wukong, and Sun Wukong lost a deal to the Buddha and then was sealed underneath a mountain. And maybe there is, okay? This isn't me holding back information. If that turns out to be a thing later down the line, that on a technicality you can seal him away, then so be it. I wouldn't say that's beating him. That's like, the Buddha didn't beat Sun
He
Wukong.
sealed him away. He
just
trapped
won a
him.
bet. That's essentially what happened, okay? When we're going at Kratos, I think Kratos would supply a very good matchup. Unfortunately, I think it would be mid. I really do think it would be around a mid-level difficulty when we're looking at Kratos. I think Kratos would be able to fuck him up a little bit.
I agree. He would throw him around. They would have a good thrashing, but at the end, I feel like they would just like accurate wise. I feel like these two wouldn't even get into a fight. It's like they wouldn't get into a fight. They would just. How do I explain it so I don't sound like I'm caking it? These two have a lot in common to where it's like they'd find some form of common ground eventually. Maybe like a brutal sparring match, but I don't see them like killing each other over nothing.
To throw some hands. And then it would get to a point where Doomslayer's just looking at him like, brother, what are we doing? Like,
exactly.
Doomslayer's winning. Okay, I'm sorry. Like, there's feats of Kratos, and then you look at the feats of Doomslayer, and it's just the equivalent of, okay, whatever he did, one-up it. Like, no, I love Doom lore. It's frustrating.
I feel like there would be like a draw between the Doomslayer and Kratos. There would be a draw because they both have fought gods, they fought titans, they fought demons, I feel like it would be a draw between Kratos and the Doomslayer. It would be a draw. I mean, they would be a draw because they're equal in strength. They're equal in strength. There'd be no. I don't even think they would be trying to kill each other, honestly. I don't think they would be trying to kill each other. So, it would be just a mid GG. It would just be a simple draw, really. That's how I would put it. But, looking at the time now, I think we're going to call the stream for right now, guys. Because I'm going to go spend some time with my father. It's Saturday night. We usually watch Svengoolie together. So, we're going to call it here. But don't worry. We will pick off where we left tomorrow as we prepare to play our first playthrough of Claire Obscure Expedition 33. Very much looking forward to playing that game tomorrow. I'm very excited. Today was a wonderful stream, and I really enjoyed meeting another VTuber and just making friends. It really means a lot that our community is growing and that we're making friends along our journey. Because friends are important, guys. Friends are always important. It's always good to cherish who you have in your circle. Even when you get to the top, never forget those who helped you. When you get to the top, support those. Even your first friend, support them. Because again, friendship is important. And without friends, we wouldn't be where we are today. So, make sure to take time to spend with those you love and care for. Alright? That being said, we're going to call it here for the day. We'll be back tomorrow around... let me check the schedule just so I don't make any mistakes. We'll be back tomorrow around 3 p.m. Eastern for our first playthrough of Claire Obscure. And with that being said, as always, look out for each other, take care of each other, be the best for each other, and most of all, y'all matter. That being said, love you guys. Stay lit, stay awesome. As always, Rock on, legends. Shogun out.